Right.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning once again, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you follow me from. Alkan jibe dauda, alkan follow dauda, alnal badi malum kotenke, Ibrahim Sonko, nterumun nale nang kotenke, bini mimbijang wolong fong kototi, mbading pamane mu fanninkeldi Gambian wala ma fananti akatara Gambianing Senegal tema bari alialon daminto wolong politico bundato Gambia politico kono, especially when it comes to United Democratic Party UDP. Atolo molti mi yalon ko ifaraman sayata baba ke UDP pare nyin konole fenteng fo aka doko min kapatiye kapatila ikamin fo plan solanim programul ke findini molya ka mol kala mutandi kula mbe den United Democratic Party la pa nata tara party nyin kono so much so that I patila campaign manager ya fana nyinile sanji dandan komanto so ato findi ta party kono baba kele so aka dum kacha da mala fana kono Gambia wati do kachal mi yalon ko aka mol kala mutanda aka mol karande political kola ani wati do kol fana mi yalon ko to awol sami controversial so bi nta kutula koma sudata tula manko don be ko bele kachala konka ke jang wato wati nyamen dorong jang nimmo bele ka kacha mbe ka jibe bota pati jumala to wala bota si jumala to wala musola muyti bang wala ke wala muyti bang jammu kacha dulalti kacha aka denning hormone bunyale kono momo nata jang say treat with respect and dignity because at the end of the day wala kumayata so being content baba ke la pa ngi sura jang a baraka baba ke kasong kananan jang pour nga kacha anu ngalon ko meta kanyim plan na kanyinke bari being content baba ke le ina da chance to pour nga si nga kacha ko la mi yalon ko ba dending Gambia political la bari janim be dunno mu me kono ma fole ko bismillah be nyadi.
Well, Ibrahim Bija, be kontona, be la audience or kontona, be tentula media la ye flow mundina purukana la media to. I know a whole lot of people are also willing to come here because najele ko mo jamali ke la mo yela mo kuma ya rimballe mi yalon ko le kanaja. So basically ninga ko ninga mo kontan ku bale le tentula wala ko ye.
Baraka bake pa so kon ka adati nyamen dorong be ku folo me min kala wala min ko pamani mo jama yelong pamani I think pamani fula be Gambia politiko ko no mi yalon ko to be bota bake ano ala nata ke mo fulo be UDP la sai na brikama pamani aning nyim pamani bimbe sirin nyati lon la jang so ni ko pamani jumalam pamani because mi anda ngi nyinin kawala na politique kacha kono nka moja ma banta moja ma ka kacha nkeje social media la bari mbike longo nyam so fana ka tinale mol ibika mol fahamu amari la experience munati wala munat na mobe nyamen abo nyama in terms of ala opinion munati wala la political orientation munati so wala no most of the time ka mol nyinin kawala pour na lamor la le mol faham ko modolu ini man nyoje political to eye. It's not because iman kalamutan no ila miralo akadendin minna wolong is by virtue of ila life experiences wale bota daming wale la karon so most of the time ila environmental koke iwuluta min dole juma le tele wululalti itela social and political and economic situation ibota la nyadi let so lafa nga dati wodo ita min dole niko pamani juma lam pamani.
Well, Ibrahim, Pamani is one person, me Yalongo, Wuluta Banyule, but he include between Jinak Misranding, Bakote, and Nkara. And few years okay, in Jinakle, because in the Wuluta Ngataram Farmer Mantala Baluni. And you know, ngambama fana manta ngambama fana bulu ngama ngantara na step model bulu mi yalon kate mandi mosto ika fa ko nafa samba mte fama was serving at a cooperative in Kau. So I was jabani nje wodo aya fudu anana tajina wotamo a lot of people know who my father is and then who can know me yalon kai wole not only for Jinak, but the entire Lower Nyomi community. Kamulta ke Samba Kado Dila among my families as well. So I must get in Samanang, my Ginakle. So for Atebeleta Wolcom, ko inte ba ma Senegalese le and so ba ma tara je ngam fantara wo muske ba ni so muske ba ni wala nata ke nak aman ni soto aman ko mo yi wa and binakin ko be wolo ne ka fay na pasamba so mbe abul wol nyama mba tembe tembe na karamundo ta fon ke da no problem because he could not afford for me to go to school so ngata wulo ko ngalo ni ngalo ni ni na ni nga wafi then kana school fees go I was going to school up to grade 4. So come keba bulo ma ko be mbake so inatan tabulu yen tamba mbinki madoya afana mbeletal barate be misrandine so mbe woto I went through things me along ko Ibrahim pour nga sa dafa avec le problem in misranding bo fananto I was not going to school up to 1997. So 1997 and Nata Bondije, Yajamila coup d'etat, that was the Friday Yajami took over. And I was running from this landing to go to Back Hotel because my grandmother been in Back Hotel and then my uncle had a compound in Back Hotel by then. So Natanum Banjul, I was trying to cross Nakudeta Taraji, unfortunately. So what time ola near Jibe ports mafang or time or stadium currently ports cut trend in what am GBT sila fempo. So basically Molka Bos Old Town World. So I came there was no vehicle. So I have to travel from there to all the way to Sodom ikafinyadile library law koma odlar so ntebe fala auto drongatara sojaro kabondi from radio seat lama famole binaka then I remembered one reporter Panderi something like he was at BRTS a telephone he rescued me mbatin lambaji malong he is still living but butung is a very long story so until live I don't want to go into details because I went into help to tell you the truth so kabindara bakote mbemma yaje alatata ke nak nin tubab dol nata bula ñoo kono o tubay ka fay François Broyo in certain François mu yan français le mati atelen dundi na hana madiya kono to tell you I in summer school and then I started going to school I went to Bakote primary school and so kabintata school in summer grade 3 le before mid of the year yamboni grade 3 and summer grade 5. So the following year, I did for my command in France. I came out with near Mira Watola 315 points. I came out with. So I went for my junior schools at St. Teresa's Junior Secondary School. So Kabimboda Auto Mbe Auto for grade 8 Kadu 9 Konodo Babo Yufanam Beleta. So you see, Ibrahim. And things started getting bad, and then it get worse and worse and worse. So Watola Paul Koleata. So one of my brother, me along Kabinung Farato. So Ntata Wolea, so then I went to Mindao, so Mbe Mindao Senior Secondary. So Mbe for but again I came back, I went to Senegal. So I started engaging these skills. Work as a welderman. So company for law, model current few of those are now in Europe. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. And then I still have people that I train by myself. If I'm somebody I am that proud. Ko ning jante janning mobe manche karanat and not everybody need to go to university to achieve in their life. So basically, and then I went on to, to proceed in something else. So Mbewa Fananto Drong, Fatala Wildlife Reserve, South African on Nata Noma, they wanted me to work with them, not as a tour guide, but to take care of their animals and then to engage communities and all that. So because I am a language speaker, in our local languages here. So ni engage tawale kono and then they train me ngawulo lombake Ibrahim ngawulo ngawolon. I don't go to university no anyways, so, and I can animals. I am familiar with them. And then they fatala for almost 3-4 years. But Ibrahim
Wow.
Mante, I will call myself a radical, but I don't want injustice. I hate injustice to the last level. So Ngaji South Africa on how they are dealing with the Senegalese people in our community here. I started Francis Cafe, I started vindicating. I started going after them. And the guy and like, look, you people are white, we are black, does not mean we are not humans. We are equal, and that you are also in our country. So inyanta aliemol for so kadringa koros konyil ibe minna anishlo mantan, and they are not ready to cooperate. I tendered my resignation, and then I was one of the most paid, employees in that institution. So Ngamfunye Ibrahim, and then they could not hold it. They came after me, they made mistake. I went back, but people that I was fighting for, they are the very people who started fighting me again, fighting against me. So look, this will not work. But during that period, Ibrahim, I was engaging in the Gambia, not in politics directly. I was a UDP sympathizer. But natara nung yalan tek ante sinkala feeling afo concedo hay by law be abe kasolto aleleo. But I would have loved by law itara baluri be stuff like I tara free be I think I foko paka nyimu fa walentonya. I was ready, and then the last coup d'etat mi yalon ko Ibrahim ko do ko do fulan kana fandu.
No, te fandilla akaja do. But pa jani we continue for ila pa ibadu pa nke mo loud and clear but ila video ni be blur in the morning kala malo mo be caring. So malam foi say 1 second ta ye finti den yemuru nan ko tangbe admit lale ila video man tere scenario mbako fonte lombang. But anyways, the second no comment section also have nalka page clearly. Just let us know.
I'm watching from another device. So yalan ntemu Gambian no in the Senegal barinka Gambian network all use, to be honest with you. QCell network all use it even in Senegal. So accept that for me, please. Senegal,
no problem.
All right. So
okay,
yeah. So Kabrin Bailo will pareta ka coup d'etat nyinke. He engaged me that they are ready to make a coup d'etat if I have anybody, if I'm ready to join them. Because Johnny Wo, I can show you my conversations with him, though my English was as bad as hell. But Butung, in fact, Ibrahim Ante, I ever had the intention even to go to I will be manjara because it will look like I'm trying to show people who I am, and then I think my personality is not important here, and then I think we are talking about Gambia basically.
No, I think don't come in for it wrong. We need to humanize each other. Important that perhaps there's a lot of issues when it comes to politics. But the reason Kanyola we try to understand each other and we are going to talk about issues. And sometimes some people don't feel comfortable to talk about their journey, especially near the journey and story. I can understand that. But when it comes to other aspects of your life, I think it's extremely important for us to talk about those things, to give a perspective about who Pa is in wholeness. I think if anybody is going to appreciate you, clearly there's a lot of people they're interested to know about your story. It's insane. We already have over 100 people that are already here watching you. They are here to listen to you. So I think we owe them that, to sort of get them an unfiltered conversation of who Pa is. So whatever you're comfortable sharing, don't hold back. I'm not going to interrupt you. I think you should let your people know whatever you want to share, whatever you're comfortable sharing. Niman comfortable Minna, don't share that. But we're definitely going to get into the issues. But right now we want to understand who Pa is.
I got you. I'm just trying to hold certain information to myself. But anyways, I played I would not say a key role, but I also played my part in it. probably mulmul by law back on they might not know because coup d'etat not everybody inclusive should be known. But as a person, in fact, I try to recruit certain people. Dolbe je will be balut no kumankela. Dobe je obe fatala la extra jale mati ka fa ko bakari bamba. I engage him purunga katam de fenko kele nyami. So kabrim bay lo na fanan na da foy dunta konoto for coup d'etat nyinketa for some of them got killed and then some captured and then that day ntebe nunkara. But that wo fajiro entera I have to cross Ngata Banjul to know what is going on, what I could do. Banko jata ni wala. So wala na ninga model mo ibe diam ka foko pasay na nata nyinko and then here and there. Anjakale Halifa Bajinga bina be baluri ni abafulali nyindi no minke during the struggle. It's not easy. What later Gambia you openly criticize President Gambia. It's like yete la mano kandre ko motori alin takali emfa wo manke hanyot wo manke pentimi yalon ko ibafula ko nyinga mu hanyiri wala mat. It's like selling your own self. It's like sacrificing yourself. It's like hanging your own self. So ko yaji ikake ni silola nyaale bala ibakele ni nyaminna fo fana lafta minna ko ne wosto no je. So we tried all that. Halifa Bajinka wo time on inna ka diam telephone wala kata mabole kasukuru dole be jang kata si wolto na diam nimpare tanga say suo kono and watola means of communication is not this much nka Janet Skype nka I think that it was Skype nka Skype le use watola most of the time and then you talk to people nimo wono fang you ka direct call like majority of time ninte ka pandiri call no nka direct call nka like nim pandiri be balu nga ba flale pamane but there are people mo yalan ko be baluri Gambia dingol le muyti ibe balori ne science teng dolbe Angleterre be dolbe lato Momudi Yaya Fofana be wolle kono Ibrahima Manneh be wolle kono. I was having programs with them on radios. So movement on Kasatan. And I think we use for the simple media lonko accounts media lonko we can speak our minds without being caught. I think I was called John Mendy, something like that. So will be ketale Ibrahima. It's not coming manhani wala na and the FO fenje process labala hana madingo nte lifta wala ndedun kan ko kun kono nkanani nyalla and nkanani bika nyapi kuka nin nyanta dun ko kono katale nyanta tale nyamin ko nyanta min jere je ngaji je wala nyanta kala min je sinaka woti je. So basically we call it tenne and then I don't think I will go much into my personal life because I don't want to talk about it anyways. I don't want to talk about
it. Okay. So itelanding clearly ila Johnny at that time I mean yen political diamo that you want to mean and everything else. I'm just curious. You're burning mintole like in terms of standing up for social justice, for example, ko mean for the wrong niyo de daw dai kala file yewuli yekuke je wala kuma foje. What is that grounded on, for example? Is it from Mulier race bank?
Yeah.
Community long? Where did you get that from?
I recalled I was known in social media or in politics. Kabirin I responded to Fatu Kamara, one of Fatu Kamara's statements. I mean for regarding Mr. Nabo, Adama Barrow. Adama, we were one of the people we were protecting him. Fatu Fintarako, he was that much into reading scripts and then Alafaham Roman Tau Nyama. Ko President Ole Martin and Tele elect Tele Lotai, Kabirin impasse Baker, interfinda Nakoda. I accommodated Gambians. Muntiata Lokmoti, Molbe City, that I was feeding them. And then Kamiri Economic Binala Jam. Njaga, he is one of the soldiers me along chase him away from the Gambia because Malaya to Momuna for Kudetalembang, I don't know. Jankole Mat, Bamba Maswoli Alone, Mayambang Kolemat. So he fled and then he was in Kara. So Kabring Economic Binalana, I texted him, couldn't tell to talk to our soldiers in the camps and then Kaitandilako. Look, tell me civilians all about Gambians. And the same thing applies when it happens. The ex-mayor of Kara, I talked to him regarding Gambia Polbeta Kanyami. That is all I could participate. And then Ngawoleke, and then him and the leader of ECOMOG do listen to me. Ngamin for regarding Kol Mulyalon Kolebeke Kanje, and then though I have no military background and I have no experience in it, but we are still Gambians. And then Ning Gambia Tinyata Betinyalan Tele, Ibrahim Wotija Faro Wolum, Bilembo Fono. Because wo wularan ningo kabondi 4 o'clock 4:30 kan kabondi fatala ndebe do ko ke kan daminto fatala ngado ko ke daminto is about 3 kilometers to car abemu soldier rolti and tanks. I thought of Gambia, how small Gambia is. Ning tanks all ni fenkol ni ko be duna Gambia bi tinyaro mu yalon kol be ke kanje alfalle kumbota nun that day. So Gambia means everything to us. Janim political bekisila. And nte alone ngaminki. So we'll be I spoke to Njaga be baluni hanimbi and molmul be in lamoela they know who Njaga is, they can engage him. So we went ahead, I gave him, my opinion on what to do, and then engagement on Munkilango Fananke. And then what Ntelianta Lola Mina as Gambians Lota Wolfanan. So well fanam de kono Ibrahim Nata Jako look nyimum bebe kerim bi mulbe political kono atra mulmul fara masata political kono hani sorry jani beftalo fango dabola kate coast mulyalam ko ika kenung at high court what time along probably, because if you are not known, people would not consider you that much within the crowd. Nkabondi jande ngata je molmul ka fo ko ha nga kar sute nga kar fen kay ngaboni jande ngata je, to be honest with Gambians ngaboni all the way from kara ngata je nin ko banta nga sena do be je kala kombole ni menala ni na fo jani ibe tambila ibe jani be ftala to dum e ka fo nyaadi le bon road la aussi lola most of the time e ka fo taxi el fango tetali, so e ka ji all the way from there yeta courthouse. So now mfana wole no mbe wole kela because ndebi kanya piku kan, and then I just don't want Ibrahim coming mulka kanyami na you come into one thing and then you want to be known in it at one time. Nte woman gentela silo. So nga ke wole nyama fo political wato sita for impasse na tanya impasse fana munketa je alpha dol bije. I am one of the people muliano ko they saved them. First they saved him in the from the Gambia ka mako ya don Senegal. Andung anna dingo ya kachale ngai tanda dingo la ngamin ke fai taite fa nyini ka fai permanent mini anda dingo ya acknowledge le he is in the Gambia but pin alpha len kumo dol bije hana ko le atan kan nyawnyan to fol because nyemu political andung ngale ko meta nyawnyan bankola ko len fana bara meta nyawnyan del fana bekela alpha let yo ko dol bije benke ko la woto la sama kam yo to wol be ko Ibrahima ni nata jibe. We have tried what we should for Gambia. So, anyways, in terms of my political journey begins kabring finjita ka fatu kamara ka jabi ka itandala ko ika kuma ka on mfwani slow manta, and then you are so disrespect towards our leaders. This is when people started to know about Paman, and then I got most of the engagements along Gambian. So they, call solar and Nangam, so this is how it happens.
So when it comes to active involvement in politics, obviously the aspect of advocacy, you care a lot about social justice really anywhere. It doesn't matter for Gambia, for Senegal, or anywhere at all. And I'm just curious, active involvement after that audio, how did you come to the decision to become a card-holding member of UDP? And if you're not a card-holding member of UDP, at least you hold a lot of weight in terms of voice in social media for the party. So you joined the party, how did that come about? Obviously, you were a sympathizer before, but we didn't get into how you eventually came to become really dive into the party. Kadum party
I never hold before Nimbo Chidikane meet. I never hold UDP's party Kafanyan membership card. But the person that inspired me most to join UDP or to finally come into Walaka Kafinti physically to show people now we are ready for this is through Mbochedika. Ngalong malong, but the point is, yalon tenka momuta through Amanyal. But the first day, na interactor, he was like he knew me for 1,000 years. And I kuja maleta in a UDP, like coming up, not him as a person, but coming, I attended a minimum UDP. He coming for UDP and UDP pinyani. And it shows that mol coming for wala mol believe that in a UDP is a family and tradition. I will itandi as a person. So now that you could look, if I am not participating in this, ndefanang I owe Gambian something me along konyanta ka kemak. Well, kadoko ke banko through United Democratic Party because they believe that koniko UDP do be bankola. Because ila mollo ta wala wala itandi and the woman ya wala be bulu and mfanang ya itandi ko United Democratic Party is here to salvage the Gambia and then to show Gambians that ko itanata kabanku dimol bundi koleyami yalan ko bol kon sutu fuaro. So this is how I came in completely, and that from that moment, I am going to show my full support. Yes, I said I'm going to show my full support, and I am going to give my maximum to United Democratic Party, and then it begins from there. And it begins from there that I was in the party. Sometimes bigger. So the Mbocheri can still keep calling. You have to attend. You have to do this. You don't have to sit at home. You don't have to do this. Then I started going. I started attending. So nka family to so konon kata base kata lalto for I'm familiar with politics, and then but still molbe je miliyan ko malong, and then nimbetala coming as a it's like you join the army as a small recruit nimbe fintila ngasi gelegele koma wala ngasi gelegele ngoka wala ngata si pickleball koma. Ibrahim, this is how I started it. So I did not come and force myself like other people did, but I believe what time all about slow dolbe je manaranke ata back ni sita ni tata a long journey ni futata mol be kenin kankan boni nyode be kala fo len kankan de fo kankan le muide. So this is how it happens, and then I see myself in the party.
I want to put a timeline to it. Iba for Sanjumalam, you specifically Sanjumalam yenti.
Can't say. I think 2014, 2015. I cannot recall.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
So
that, yeah.
And then the change happened in 2016, and Yafoko, you were one of Barola civilian detail like security to keep him safe, and yela korra fanang di molla pro mol sino je daming bari ngal na fanang ko ikatara Senegal bakel ya fula ko la mero mo Senegalese ladi, and it fonka base. I think you are currently based in Karang. How did that come about? How do you I think Mojima Biko understand how do you keep moving between Karang and Gambia? I mean, is Karang actually in Gambia, which is crazy to think about now that I'm thinking about it.
Karang is in
That's
Senegal.
at the border, right? Yes, Karang is in Senegal. It's at the border. Yes. So how does that come about?
But that's not a big deal. We have seen UMC people, certain people reside in America, and they are basically in the Gambia in every other week. So I can travel from Karang I can travel from Karang to ntita mondi nyo jang Karang ngata combo ngana munang within few hours. So it's normal
that's not the reason I'm asking. I've been to Karang several times. Love a million come you America in the sea, just to be clear. But it's a decision to live in Karang. Is it because ila mero be for hani say wala never stay in Jebang wala? What is the decision to?
No, I have family. My family is I have one part of my family in the Gambia and the other one in Senegal. So mbamamu Senegalese, afamamu Senegalese, and we have family. I have cousins. I have you know, ate ensafa aba nte mama ke aning nsafo karanda almost ala meyo la mama muso denta bakilin fakilin. So you know, Conte, I have a part in Karang and also in the Gambia, and then it's like any other Gambian. That is in every 100 Gambians you looked at, Ibadila for 98% of that population share the same scenario with me. So I don't take it a big deal. The matter of fact is I don't engage in Senegalese politics. I don't engage in their normal day-to-day activities. Nte kachadla from Gambia. Nimbota jamfa Ibrahim kada kachala andala science. So I am that type of person. I know who I am, and I don't like injustice. So I am very careful of how to deal with things me along from in the normal life.
So moving on, 2016 kata coalition ladder morning European party do ladder nyokang nata Gambia bondi Gambia nata bo manseala mojama safoko 2016 coalition was a UDP government. In fact, people say that, but I always say it's not a UDP government, but I think I can take the point that it was a UDP led coalition because I don't know about the UDP led. But in terms of leadership, in terms of minister, the UDP and Minister Sabada Mara, you know, I remember Usainu Dabo, the Minister of Finance, and then also I think the Lands Minister. And also we had a couple of people in the ambassadorial positions as well. But still, I think that lacks the general perception Kafuko UDP Manso Kundalam in substantively to make the point. But at that point, why do you think what happened ended up happening in terms of you know, baroning molmin lara nyokang fonko nata boje? I know it's a foregone case, you know, people don't like to go at it, but I think we need to understand it because as we get into 2026 presidential elections and party we have to interrogate that or examine it. Why do you think what ended up happened between UDP and Barote?
The same scenario that happened between UDP and UMC. And if I wasn't the first person to come out and say, Adamu Falalti, I would not be the last person. And it happens to me like some people ignore me, and then Mr. Dabu was very, very protective of Adama because I believe that Adama Neneta Jamfala, Adama would be the last person in Mumbai Jamfala. But already Adama Ninjamfa was cooked before even Adama came back to the Gambia, bringing Yasamba Senegal to be sworn in. And you know, Adama came with the idea that they are either with me or I will stand by myself. At that time, Intelbe Media Montoika for Generation Talk Show. It was the only political media Abidiam come on social media regarding political activities, me and UDP Kawale Kenu. So Adama, few of our people met him, and I Tanjiro look until media. We are always advocating for Mr. Dabo and United Democratic Party, and not him. So when I heard this message, I questioned myself: if Adama is still in UDP, why should he be concerned that we always talk about UDP and not him? So I raised this question: if Adama, we talked about UDP, or we always talk about UDP, and not him, who is Adama then? You know, I have categorized mental. What is he up to? So, but a few of my people, and they do not subscribe to that idea as well. So that is when split started. Margin between us. So ibajala ko problemo mesemo starta mulbika paredia mulabot mumumbelori kui fangay. So in that circle it was myself, Magyane, Foreja wall, Max Jones wall, Telebedum Kukile, and Basait Samate, and then we started informing our people to let them know Adama is up to something no good. But our leaders in UDP, they felt that until more radicality, and then you know we see everything upside down. So majority of them don't subscribe. Okay, so Adama went into certain thing called Alkali Conte called for a meeting, which I was later informed. coming people need to help Adam approve, UDP government kana split kana suje and UDA manding kolka motino mansatele bari bika mola masaya mutafe. So this is when nyim kol kumasta katinya completely. So at the same alkali konte tele starta kamisa dabo doya kakuma kongol fayama kata may munasisa dabo fabu sane ol lamin tunkara ol talib la muria kenya this the same thing that happened lamin tunkara alkali sorry not alkali konte fabu sane and I think they called me Lamin Ardabo was among them, but Lamin Ardabo didn't participate much in that conversation. And Nangama and call only once. We talked about it, but Fabu Sani and Lamin Tunkara insisted, and that they tried to come in Kamisadabo Totinya. They wanted to make us the Bafulanya the infantry battalion commanders. So Ibajila Kontelebeka infantry soldiers to wipe you had Ahmad Gite on the other hand. So I have little confrontation with Ahmad Gite, Fabu Sane, Lamin Tunkara, and all those people because Kabiri Fenkataha, the Yamodol Toltinya, Misadabo Toltinya, Kumajamami Yalon Kayafo, and Munola Kang. It is so odd that Motimunola Kangito for Alpha. So basically, this is when I started to write on social media because I don't, Ibrahim, I'm not scared to lose people. I'm not scared. As far as belief I'm okay with it. Even if the entire Gambia will go to the other side, it can ban so Mandaula TV. Belief I stick to it. So this is when I came out Kaitandila ko Adama Abebanko Jamfaka na UDP Jamfaka and then this is what he is up to and UDP feel like. So the same UDP members wale finta yembaning ye kumol fonye in fact nemule group so ni hani kacha dia da nyawonya Ibrahim kala male ko kacha ka buru ka so this is how serious it was. So we went to a point ko nyim kol bekeda for Adama finta ya true kola itandi beje ngakalam day he had a confrontation with Mr. Dabo that I was informed. Boubacar Sidiki Jame Balurine. I called him ko Adamani Mr. Dabo Duntanyo. And I expected Adam is going to fire Mr. Dabo. To be rest of the Akonya and Kai Walla in Sinkali. Boubacar Balurine Kumanka. So Mbeje after a few weeks, Adam Mr. Dabo by and this is how it happens. Some people started saying Yaje Pai Nyimkonya. So Mbeje for Nyimkol Mulialon Kolketa. But they don't feel ko kunketa Konyin Mr. Dabo tried his level best. Kakataka Banko Unify, Kakataka Adamanim Banko Unify, Kakataka UDP Beke Kirimoti, Kakataka UDP BTT, go de fel lafta min na Banko Casino. But I tell a conclusion is Adama is greedy. I'm sorry to say this, but I take Jelako as his personal belonging that Nimom Natemantadroma be Bondila Boso Konola now time ako. You are either in his post or not. So this is how it happened. So Adama UDP jam fawole nyama through mulama koiro dolka foko sidi jaileng fabaka to mugata bari ntela conclusion on nyama ntela mirako alkali konto wolleng may munasisi dabo wolle Adama mislead.
But what do you say to Mol Miyanko Ikafa Fananko? Nina da Jibe, Adam Baro Mansayata, Usenu Dabo Taro Komol, and in Gambian no le Karim in fire. Because Niata the solo Sunday Mambanung, Alamani when in Kafarakalaya, Usenu Dabo Manta jail, and in coalition of Namala Nyokang, and in Gambian no le Karifai, Adamote Mansayala. But a Kabru Bekeda, Wokomo, Adam Baro Nada, Usenu Dabo Foreign Affairs Minister, Amanda Wodo, another active Vice President Fananti. So more nada foko niye nyinkuo mu mekete ay bonni kaso kono amanda wala another cabinet minister di laman dan wala another ay ke second in command in the country, the second most important voice in the country. Ini wabije woman ala sira woman bamfolo ikoybo coup d'etat I don't baro nala molu call for. Do you think that's a fair assessment of the situation?
I don't think so, Ibrahim. Yalam this is more or less sometimes like I blame Gambians because we take everything in politics as personal. This is not about Adama giving a position to Mr. Dabo, Vice President wala kake Minister of Foreign Affairs. Yalong akuliata nyawanya. No matter how hard work I am in UDP, there are certain positions fully along continue mutanol. In as much banko be sonta ko nyanda indino la pala, but yeah, if only along kuni adinan tamtanol. Adama Mr. Dabo ke foreign minister today because I alone know he is capable of being in that position. I vice presidency DLL because he wanted to serve him. Mr. Dabo being in that foreign ministry, I banko na famina Adama yajele banko dingoli yaji. I achimino musamana nyim banko kang Adama yajele banko dingoli yaji. So now this case is not about who Adama is and who Mr. Dabo is. It is about our country. They believe tawala. Nana banko dingol lafta sobe yalla. Ilafta nyim banko nyato. It is not about who Adama Barrow is, but it's about what benefits the country. Jamala leadership be nyim banko makoila. Jamala leadership be nyim banko sambala nyato. Nga Adama bondije, nga Ibrahim bondije, nga Pa bondije, nga Kar bondije. That is a title. That is Ninko Mr. Dabo Drong. It is some Ninko Mr. Dabo because a title of Miyalonko, ya deal pour more sasute ko usenu fana mu multi aboda janne nangam. But at the end of the day, Londo Muyalonko babula si banko na fano la fenna Miyalonko Adama taken. Now, if people believe ko nyimu personal quality, ika Adama lekele because Adama mu president. Adama came as a transitional president. He forced himself on Gambians. He went for 5 years. Mboda je kodeke aya fam force banko dingol kan afele nyinta be 10 years. Jamal ba kumbo kan. Jamal le akole akanta. Abe Jamal le affectan. It is Gambian Gambia and the Gambians. So nkanyine for molie. This thing is not about Usain Dabo as a person. It is our country. Usain la leadership abe banko na fala min. Antel bo le keleka. Ninda be Usain keloke kan konka keloke Usain damale denu ngam fonyo. Natala sembo damale nka keloke pour nga keloke Usain denu ngam fonyo. Natala no ni tata state house. For example, Ibrahima ika birigole laje wala masondo ko le beje wala carpentry le beje. I would not be advocating for Usain Dabo's presidency. But knowledge mu yalon ka babulu, londo mu yalon ka babulu, ala la fonyi banko la, banko ita nyata mbole keleka. But that does not mean I have something personal against Adama Barrow. Adama yalon ka te banko samano. Nte yalon ko Adama te banko samano. Ibrahim hanin te mun kadi amite, ite fu yalon ko Adama te banko samano. Banko dingol yalon ko Adama te banko samano. But only the people muli yalon ko they are benefiting from the tax payers. Muli yalon ko they are stealing our economy. They are emptying our resources. Wo mo kilingol wolle betaka mul kan pour Adama forcer banko dingol kan. Bari telmul fangol be nyinke kan Ibrahim tel fangol yalon ko Adama te banko sambanola. Saying Adama la leadership kono banko e mu interest fal so. So interest sontale do sano e interest de because tractor le babu now he is hard. Momum bika cigarette paketo sanno apawe. Ni waya fanje prado kono. Wote bon la bon law kono. Lamin cham likewise. Any other person. Mon mul yalon ko be num America they could not achieve anything. Be woli ye fanje ku kono. Mi yalon ko they did not achieve their entire life. Wote la flaka bondije. But in telbe yalon ko Adama is not the rightful person to lead this country. Now near miracle Mr. Dabo want to Mbatade near miracle Mr. Dabo want to coup d'etat Adama Barrow. No. This is not a belonging of Adama Barrow. Mr. Dabo is a politician. Adama Mr. Dabo told a use ala campaign kono ay tandiro ko Dabo mu molti mi yalon ko nyanta jola la julola le andunga e fenne fi nyim banko kam mi yalon ko banko la na falen wole moli o jiko mu soto Dabo woji ki kilingo e woli jindi Adama ko wole yati na yake president. Now if people say ko Dabo be Adamo coup d'etat kane, I see no reason why people have to say that. I see no reason.
So let's just consider the point for the sake of Kacha Nyinkono that Adama Barrow is not competent, I Jamfaleke and all these other things, and just focus on the fact that, for example, Dabo incredible lawyer, even wonderful politician. I think anybody momo Gambia political long hani nkanyum fon na ntero le nibe kacha hani e pengui konto ite Usenu Dabola sembo jibela na do ko menge kapati londi amofula singola pati miyango kabi 1996 for be awelowing Gambia ya foko Usenu manke amo sembo soto. Even though amam man say I think you have to put premium and value on having a political party as powerful and existing for such a long time and still has a lot of support in the Gambia like UDP. It's a kumobe for now, but I think we have to admit that point. So what I want to really raise is that Nida Hajibe Kabin 1996 for Kabale Barroso Wato Minna as president. Is there anything that, for example, you bearing in many experiences, if you look back, especially Alnim Barola situation or how it ended up happening, that you can look back, maybe we should have handled this better. Maybe Dabo should have handled this better. Maybe UDP should have handled this better. Because Barrow is one of us. Barrow, what a UDP. Is there anything that you could look back, Aliafoko, maybe Ndolu, Nyanta differently to have better outcome than what you have right now?
From my own perspective, I think there is no better way to handle it than to be speaking, to speak to the people with the truth, or to tell people the truth. Adama, he came as a transitional leader. He promised to serve only 3 years, and this is what was said to the electorate. This is the promise they gave to signing Adama Tatako. You ask a question.
And the reason I'm asking that is also because Atola, your camp is one of those who were also telling us, the constitutional follow 5 years, Amanyan 3 years, Amanya Agrila. UDP was one of the most.
I will come to that.
Yes, let me.
I will come to that.
I'll give you a chance to finish.
Yes.
I'll give you a chance to finish. Let me just finish the point. Is to make the case that looking back, is there anything at all now that you have the opportunity to add? Is there anything at all you should have done differently, including the fact that you were telling Osco Adam Barrow should serve for 5 years instead of 3 years? In fact, there are prominent people in the party who publicly make those comments to say that a 3-year agreement amanya follow and the 5-year constitutional in follow, right? Anything at all to look back on that you guys could have done differently?
Yeah, but Ibrahim, if UDP happened to komi yafu nyamenga tembe pour UDP la tamina wasi sotono ini Adama la leader, knowing that Adama is incompetent and Adama permission in Mindi UDP la imam pare ka will fulfill. They only want to have Adama as a leader. So could if UDP left tamina is was what UDP is there for UDP and not for the Gambia. And until we UDP no as genuine Gambians. Normally, because I'm not following UDP to be in the State House as United Democratic Party. I am taking UDP in the State House because I believe they can work for the Gambians. Signing Adama, ako, wala mol believe tako, mul sutu mul fon le kadiamu ye President Sindo no le bari man sen President Tembe no. Womu mirror to me along konafata from my own perspective. And nunte amira ko UDP statement nyanta woleta. And then to be honest with Gambians, Adama in for 3 years I barely see. Kabring Adama kawo for Moli, Banko dingol madungada. Itelle nila promissionata and wo promise yo Banko dingol. Now, if certain people Adama nyanta talale after 3 years, and then the other people believe ko Adama nyanta sinolale for 5 years over because William constitutional. Will be the right leka because Adama promised to serve only 3 years. Wo mol sa mutano ya bulo tromondo ko yini nefoni signing dolo ta ko constitutional yini for 5 years wo fana be mun foka wala be buladi duwale no kam wala atina ko constitutional nyanta wala Adama nyanta sino for sanjilu. Now it is left of Adama to honor his own word. Wala black constitutional no man wo wato banta I alone ko he scored another extra 2 years. I banko ndi banko dingola munsi banko sambano ngadi wala. But sign UDP could have done ne Usenu lafta asibulano Adama normally. Molmuli yalon ko be nafasto la Usenu bulu ibe nafasto la Adama la masakunda bulu be bulala Usenu normally. Molmuli yalon ko Usenu kanu ala kama kila kama isibulano Usenu normally. But molmul fana yalon ko ye femosto mi yalon ko kon tel be bulani banko la yalta da malno mi adi ata simfalta mi yalon ko if I believe ta ko nyinden telefona na believe ti. So the point is mol kamin befo nyimmini minimum bebe caring Mr. Dabo ko ha Adama anyanta sila like 5 years ntelebe Mr. Dabo lonne ngalo no ko atakabula lual no hani ko Mr. Dabo so hani ye di Mr. Dabo le kaye mi ngaba fule luwa mi ne fo nyanta minna la nyaadi. So Mr. Dabo believe ta wole nyama luwa. So ko kun kede je janna be fenji be la be luwa le folo jibe. So ni Mr. Dabo ko luwa nyine fo Adama nyanta bula wol no nay mo dol tere ngatente tere. And I mean for wole ma lo nyaate anunta believe ta ko mom yalla ko irresponsible tale akwa be do ko min na la tawo do ko lale and wole ma tala la note and I believe ta ko be banko sambala nay wo fo mantra fo kan Adama kola because by that time Mr. Dabo yalla ko Adama ba jam faka. He knows that very well. But he tembi tembo mu fote Mr. Dabo have tried his level best pour ka kata banko dingol be ke kilim ni mo diante sa fo because president ole martin no aman kate dam mati it applies to everybody within the party. Mr. Dabo ka mo be le tembu tembu asa lon koy ni yarol nata ka wala murole be buli lafta sola asa kata ay wo muro mu tebula ala ndi tabulo ka ni kacha funi be sele yina wo muro la lar e bulo nyin kay ese muro tuji. This is the type of person he is. So ni Mr. Dabo wo fo wo modol tereng amante tereng anu ngala ko a for reason la ni momun sida na fo e fongo bal naka fo minna anyanda fala wo. So Adama le yala ko cha manya na min kala banko dingol la banko dingol ya mu tawo nyam because I believe ko Gambians have no love for the Gambia. The biggest in Gambia lacta mina Ibrahim wole patriotism. Nkamira la somanda wula rakibula. Mbebe wuru nanteni tebe ni mulbe kantella moy. Mbetara wuru nantene. Banni ko momu yaku Gambia doron asikudo sama. Nyimu mbebe keri banko kanu bali ya wole yatin. Baninga banko leje Ibrahim futata da minto futala to ning Adama.
I mean, I don't know. That's a whole another no. I don't personally think that we have a problem with patriotism. I think people really love the Gambia. I think people love the idea of being Gambian. I don't think that's the problem. I think we have a problem of attitude. I think we have a problem of Hadama Dingolu not seeing that, you know, to be in public service, the idea of being public service, what it means. We see it more in the lens of opportunities, but that's also a system. So I think what we have, like Khalifa Saleh said, is more of a system problem. I don't think we have a patriotic problem. You know, I think people really love that country. There is an issue of having, you know, I think a level of civic awareness in our education system, and I can understand that. To bring it to a level mi alan ko molse faham roke molse mansa kunda doko nyim faham molse doko faham nibe doko la mansa kunda ro anafamu minute, you know, among other things. But in terms of you know, I think Gambians are very politically conscious and very politically aware, and I think mole bango fana but so kata among important science thing. My point that I also want to highlight is kabring falingo nyinkata in 2016 pa atolu you had majority in the National Assembly. Almanda water local government fanang Banjul KMC I think what's it called Landing Sane Jara Soma local government fanale majority fanan sort of jail eventually Brikama fanang well Brikama 3-4 sonko then 3-4 nata boje now Yankuba fanan not continue kataraji. And to make the case that including National Assembly UDP even away from Barrow opportunity balance to pruka falling rock, including Kalual falling, including constitutional falling, including you know, local government fanang other local government. I think especially I mean Banjul ning KMC and in Brikama Yodoku Kendo Lekeje, but specifically at the National Assembly, falling Jamal and the Keleje, me uncle they had an opportunity, Cabral majority, Walnyan the Kela. Why do you think we're cool, man?
Well, there was a time UDP nyanta changes kila daminto. That is the moment Adama started buying loyalty of a few of us. Willing some of the National Assembly members, Milia Alonko, they left UDP to support Adama. So basically, UDP could have taken that momentum for some of the you know, changes that they wanted to implement is working on. Gambians, Gambians love this country and stuff like that. Believe me, Ibrahim. Because nga political si famu nje jang kabi kwenye permanent ne majid la. Senegal political nasty tale, very nasty politics. But the Gambia can make definitely internet market lot. You know, you can run for after electorates in various communities. But as long you are elected, then you go on your personal affairs. This is one thing you cannot tell me ko molmang wala molti je media lang ko malla balia bankudiya. So UDP no problem will be economic because muli alon ko le nyanta ka party protect muli alon ko le nyanta ka implementation of samanang in certain areas muli alon ko UDP lafta no wala. Those are the people muli alon ko they subscribe to Adamas Jamfa, so they went with him. UDP filige, and then UDP started Mafo struggling, but laftala nyami naman sto nyama. This is when things went hard between UDP and Adama, and then is a daily battle between UDP, Adama here and there, and we'll see what. So we could not achieve what we wanted, but we still stood by our grounds. Kajako munyanda kela pati kono way keje, and then banko dingol solata minna from UDP is given to them. But nying ko be Ibrahim Anar kalbe ni mo ko be UDP le UDP le babla nyadi be UDP le mutala kula wale be blame le wale be mutala kula nga fele nyindi bena problem o create, because I know this party and then I know how willing their leaders are ko ka kalamtaro wala ka tilingo not only within the party but also in the Gambia. So ngalene they are ready to do everything possible for kaje ko ka tonya sabati ndi banko.
To that point though, ime mira fananko party nying ye party yo party dunia kono pa including hanin dollar jang wala ite bidam in Senegal party tije mi alon ko perfect, and I think party la kende ya fanan katara mindo lon ka koma jibe ka foko ntolu kudo bije nga opportunity so pour ka falindiloke woto nasi da woto le. And I think that's okay to concede that point. We don't have to window dress all of it. Well, and semin for kanyaka zikudola wala to try to create perception ko party. I think party for now what doing kudol bijemia they could do better. We can acknowledge that. And I'm saying that to make the point ko. If all of these people are part of UDP, for example, like Adam Barrow Botaje, Allah National Assembly member la tata Allah fanan sangi but Allah party kono itaraka Allah fa do ko minkela anim falindol minkela man na keno. But if an Allah National Assembly member, if falindrol kalmi alonko, some of Allah party member la nitol for National Assembly abitol na fala, and iboda Allah party la kono, right? To make the point that they were basically doing things mi alonko abitol for benefit la nole, right? And there are other areas mi alonko as a Gambian will be benefit nobody more. So the reason I asked you that question earlier, the reason you didn't call question earlier about is there anything coma kafoko ntolu we could have done this differently is to this point to say that hey, maybe there is time they want to come in your party and stand on behalf of your party such that minkata with Barrow akanake kotenge such that minkata with Taliban Suda akanake kotenge going into 2026 election. So again I ask you that question, is there anything at all from 2016 to now that as a party you guys can look back on and say we could have done this differently?
Sometimes the questions is a little bit confusing. If this case is about Manneh, I would have answered directly. I could have done this instead of this. But for example, somebody was representing Lower Body constituency. You want to ask me Alaji Minke? Alaji could have been at the position of answering that question. And but from my opinion, Gambians lack patriotism. But if another person they could have done this, but instead they left that. They could have done this in the interest of the country, but they left it and then they stood for their own personal interests. This is when lack of patriotism came. This is when lack of patriotism falls in. So instead of moli bankola kwajibe ka bankota tujele yelo ifangol la koto. When it happens that way, then there is no patriotism. Number two, all of these people are elected members. They are serving their own communities, constituencies in that parliament. So I never constituency moli elect. Wollo that so manda for tilo boita. kete National Assembly member. It for one time, Yajako, you are not representing those people anymore. You are there in the National Assembly for yourself. Then you are going to sell yourself to a president. And Ibrahim, don't be surprised. Or don't question this. Adama is the president. There is no person above him in the Gambia. That's the reality. Very few of Gambians, Adama Bemul approach la. Ya fire ko inila request munata. I'm not subscribing to it. Very few. So molbe along ko UDP nyantolo nyami ne belori wole nyama. It is a lesson to learn. Mi yalo ko believe ko UDP karambale ke wala, and then they are not ready to repeat a mistake of magnitude. But if the lola ya jeko ba nyimbanko tilimo sam tamaja. Bari abe kunna fanam banko dimole pareka katilimo. UDP minno wolen ka pamaneta yaake candidate oti yambol convince e carte faya ne carte faya to mun to mu pamane nyantalo na fabe tidi yala fanya de kila patriotic let fama nyana kila patriotic fanya ntalo la ka UDP fa salem ba fanya ta kalolo ba ka bankole fara fodum anyanta ka fongole fanam fuafi so ko defi atela after minas wosto no janni ka fo nyamina janni na tambe man because it's only 5 years. So they believe the minna. Yes, please go on, Ibrahim.
No, because we're cool for like at the same time. We can give a live comments for them GV. So I feel live call do carry. You see more
I don't cooperate with that. I'm answering your question, so it's fine. I'm answering your question.
Yes. No. So just to clarify, it's not. I'm not I'm not asking him on his as a UDP executive. Pabilan specifically as a member of UDP, not an executive, but as a youth political figure in the Gambia. He has a voice, he has a platform. So those questions is basically about what party thinks. It's not what the party thinks. So you guys consider it that way. But I'll comments all the
you don't have to answer anybody. This is between me and you. So let's go. Please.
Oh no. I'm just clarifying for the purpose of the platform, just so they don't put you in that position where they're like, oh, you're gonna speak on behalf of the party. But there's a lot of people watching. Over 300 people are watching. Thank you all very much. I told Mbejang, we really appreciate it. The conversation is wonderful. And Facebook, YouTube for thank you all very much. And please consider subscribing to YouTube and in video better on Facebook and YouTube for those of you who want to watch it again later. But Pa, let's move on. Thank you for that wonderful submission. I think it makes a lot of sense too. But we're going to move on now to what's been going on right now. And I think a lot of people, you talk about La Jamalto when it comes to the social media politics of UDP, right? And so much so that there's also some level of controversy associated with it. But one thing I like about you, Ibuka Bori Kachal. You know, in fact, I see people sometimes insult you on your page and you warn them, if you continue insult me, may block that. That shows a level of tolerance that I admire. But also, definitely body to also use inflammatory and also sometimes incendiary comments against other people. In fact, your Facebook is littered with it. And so I really want to understand, we're gonna get to it. And Ila Passion, Mialanko is here. Everybody knows that you're very passionate. You care deeply about Ila Party. Ila social media is filled with Ila Party leader that you push and support a lot. How do you manage that to make sure that one, you continue to do Ila advocacy, and two, to also manage some level of decorum and civic engagement on social media? We don't descend into neo and inside nimuli nangite ko toran ditefana dol ma wanyama akakachani kolendi bakel kado some of the accusations pale nyimfo pafa namba ko karle nyimfo. Before we even get to UMC calling, just that aspect of our politics, how do you deal with that?
Ibrahim, this is life, and there is no person in life, me alone, everybody will see your face or will recognize your participation in a particular thing. Or me alone, you will not receive both positive and negative engagement. Maybe they call me. There are people that called me to insult my mom purposely. And ni nada social media fanang mol sa phone ko paka mol neng paka mol feng paka mol feng. But I've opened my door for everybody. Intele wuli tangolan astagfirullah. Wuli tangolan di tabulo kan dala si wuli tang. Ngo momo ye finti ndiroke. Yeah, jeng besafiro lan ka mol led bal neng wala feng. I can be critic on people. I am that type of person. I'm a straight shooter. If I believe that ko Ibrahima I akumuli doron ben anta fune ko Ibrahima yale sanyoto tiedo be je o bon je wala tulo dala tiedo be mena nga fo Ibrahima ye ko beli. This is the type of person I am. And then Gambians believe ko ni lafta fala moye for example ye ko lile nyanta na ya fay bari wo kun karata na tido to de yamre mo to bondi wala wodo to yama kudo. So you be bitten by the bush instead of coming directly kaitani mo this what that has nothing to do with insulting people. Nte mol kante bane ne mol yem bane within the party fonga mol komande ko alte kar komandali ya faye ko aye fonyo nengola and it's working for a year. But the moment of one statement kedron like mobe sa pick it aka ke wonyama there are people mulyalon ko in life ye fo fen kedron wol ka ke sulu wollet Ibrahima nim Bakar nim Boubacar Sake ate kala problem but ning mobe ya kedron asike problem wo mo si ka. So if I see myself in that circle, I will still consider. But I don't believe Contemunendirland. And I'm a very tolerant person. Mulka nim ko mo ko bon kunto alon ko mo jamale ko inangamo funga fasin kay ko bon kunto. So lo fonte wala fonte ate kala problem mo bante lo bon kunto akana ke problem. So bon kunto sa ta ya firing nya jamala do sa ken indirolti do yake wala wodoli ata kumo ni yalon ko probably inte fama tawol bande sawoni ndino Ibrahima mota fala moy Gambia ne ko sabe simo ko nte sawoni ndino mumbe kala wala Gambia bondi ni masibo mi yalon ko bolo ko wala ndindi mon la fa ba ko fonden kella do ko baliya mol la nyo nengo mol ka nyo nengo daily basis nte damande ni amoy pamane ni mo kilindu tanyola lon ko mo tan sabani lulu dun tanyola. In fact, some of the people don't be called but people don't see that. And I'm not doing it for people to see it. I'm doing it for the sake of unity and then Moli killing. But Ibrahim Kodol be Jama be and suffer from 90%, 99% of Mol coming be for Yabe Mutumarol. Tomorrow to open long moka. Molba funa pakanendiroke because that is how they want people to clarify me. This is how they want people to see me. But it depends someone on the Mumbatinala, Ibafula Molieko. Nga nyinne fali e maji pamane nyinne ke e maji akote nka mo won sa fo moy ko ne nyim fonyo ko te kembe banenal because ne no fo moy le once finta e kumol fonye mi yalon ko yen to kuma ni e konte mutida haydara ti e kumol fo kadi dante mo harama don kan fa so ntata fo ngaje ko nyim amanya ne nyim fola nyam ngasabro nka ko ni afonye ko mbe banenal just to show you ko mansila ante be fo fe na mansila on social media. Ning they believe that destiny ning alay ko kun kedro wol nyanda Ibrahim. So if I want to say something, I say it, but I don't want to be disrespectful towards anyone. But ni yente saban dabe ndo fuda da dawo danta mol mul fongole malloy ka fanyo ko ate is very aggressive, very controversial. I just try to warn people what is coming and then they have not seen yet. So ni ibelo wo kusi faldo janni mol be ite minje janni mol ba jela ika kuma kan mu foy na tara manke kuti mi yalon ko mol lafta they always see you as a controversy. So nyinne mun teni mola no to mul kan nen talib la ko they are not insulting me anymore but funding kel be lipi mu yalon ko ta falon haninte do sidana wala siyata ni yenne janne and their own will ye kum fonye because of talib ndel siyata wolti ndel siyata talib ndel siyata hani wol koto wol fon ndel siyata but yenne because talib la ko. But it is not about myself. It is not about my family. It is about the party and the party represent to salvate the Gambia and mol bondi surtout foiro karte fayla le mul yalon koy bike mutafenti de Ibrahima nyille mental problem motina to be honest with you karte fayla le mul yante ala Ibrahima nti ala mbota daninto nte ko wulle so manda mbika da samo soto ngawul so manda mbika da nkamuske ba min foy ngata to code this ngata konton isi nga konton ninga benta mum fe du rangolen benna kinole wo wato la bukolo nte bukolo wala na fanga hani sa nte ka bukolo nte ko is my choice because no le long moy mi lo le kenyabo nte ndi ya wato mo dama Ibrahima ngol long sa do mo a whole entire week wala ni tata island ol to tamba kulo ikata tambal do man foi tambalo ni tambata ya te akulo ikolta do ya ke e tamba very nice domro nte wolle long Ibrahim so ika domro fo e ka ban wo mum mambang wo nyama mero kanala ko de kay wo kimuta aya kuwa ya ja ko defi asa tabi no sam so Ibrahim de ngalo ne munen foire yati ngalo ne how difficult it is yafle yelfa ma fo don ka do mo dima do wo mu choice do time bari do mo ro damaki wala mo objectivity so nte alo ne munen mu kole yati so I am ready to fight for the poor people. I am ready to give my life for the poor people. So moli fo fem fuma le poor kun kemma ya fo nyang nte muli nyan tante lo na yellon and yalo natara fengole yente samba na political so ngame will be is not important pie nyim kam wole ning he is controversial Ibrahim wo is normal in any society ita fongo ekaloja ne ya fo ko ibeten and ita fongo ko imantara wo nyama so why do you have to believe ko mol kam fontela ko to so mol mul be kadi amante I open my gate for you Ibrahim BBB ni fen tindine ko nyoko nyim fele nyinti nyimu evidence la koy mu nendir lati Ibrahim I owe you $10,000 and janni wulare baso ni ko nyaadi nye Ismaila mbadila Ismaila
well malam for 10,000 most of all maybe 10,000 official bawakela bari you can understand why people say if
I owe you 10,000
so in 2026 yeah you call I think so one person ila Facebook malava mari tofala you call them mad dog on your Facebook and in for 2025 December 2025 ye musu saba fanan nila Facebook and you call them you ko fula mu criminal already kilindo iko da malo mo kendodi and but there's another person that you call on your Facebook mad dog and listen you know I'm just saying you can also understand when you make comments like that publicly if on social media and there's more I can go over more actually of comments like me you are not imantaraka more banning imantaraka more insult like outrageously like that but comments like this where you're going passionate against people I think that's one of the issues me our politics is bereft of issues is personalities ibe model accused as a criminal ibe model command as mad dog in Karafa you're going back and forth on issues and then Ibrahim Adiba ngela video do where you're talking about Ibrahim Adiba went to a room and so that part of ila political rhetoric I think is very passionate so nimol ko nte na mela audio la mo mi an ko mo na mela safero fananje publicly ko more than damning but I see a lot of these in some of your utterances that you make. And so you can understand when people say that you go very passionate or even when people accuse you of insulting them. So how do you come to this decision where on one end you command a lot of respect, but on the other end you deal with a lot of more personal issue? We could do work on a babakel.
Ibrahim, political meaning and to clarify this one first, the one is a nice is nice one, but the remaining is they are criminals. Almost they are my co-workers, so I was pulling their legs. You know, even if I'm making jokes, it is just that serious to Gambians. So I am beginning to understand how people take me seriously, and I think I need to change that attitude if that is the case. But then you are talking about Binzi, Sibo Janke, and I forgot the guy's name. But Butung will be in fact, in Safo picture that day, internet so they know I was pulling their legs, but probably certain people want to see me, you know, write stuff to me along Kamandi, so if they can grab on that as an opportunity. This one does not lies on that. And the other one, Male, for if I say mad
dog.
So I think it's the language. Basically, I'm not doing that to basically insult people, but I'm trying to say how frustrated they are. Okay, regarding Karafa Ibrahima. Ibrahim need for alum bin keta woto. Ite diamla.
And in Ngataji, let's get to it.
I've been quiet for almost 4 years. These people have been terrorizing me. Yemin ke na politiko kono dindinte Gambia at my age ninke ya kemi na politiko. Amanso. Ye mira kokuna mosi mo push mo kana ya kole ya kala don ayo alonko ya kenna. But ngamunyaka because if I quit that time then ngamim for be moli etamoya. Then tamu itandi no mol labi. Mi mol ba fala tente taraji. But ngalo no ko beftalaje. I did not know when beftalaje, but ngalo no ko beftalaje. It was obvious ko beftalaje. Because ngalo ne millandi ya landi nyadi le ikamine kije. I want ye mira momun na alfalen UDP ngamari won. Alike ku to nyinne kanana, alike ku nyinne kanana, alike ku nyinne kanana. Ni UDP finje dan kala bantale do beje. Ni rumodi na nini molbe sloka nga rumodi wole ante itala banta because I had no choice. As chairman nini mol finje dan ka mol dunde mol kono ngatala motol kono. I was the chairman of UDP. Nkatala ente as chairman nkatala je karafa na mitino la karafa my own brother. Ibrahim, I don't want to talk about UMC because last time I heard you say they are irrelevant, that we should not talk about them. We have bigger pictures to deal with. That's Adam Obaro. So let's concentrate on something better.
No, Pa, I can tell you 100%, almost more Kemenano Mimbe than a Syrian member to continue UMC.
I'm not going to talk about it. I have this. Do you want to? No, Ibrahim, I want something. Like, Ninko, near the big Gambia is getting into all this mess is because Muli Nyala Feneka Mialonko is a priority. Kugambia di Monyanta Kakilele. Yaje Femo Nabe Kiti Yari Dami Katili Nuot. Naja de Bikati no Taka Katibu. UMC Bedamento, Gambia no bedilla, UDP bedilla, wala Gambia di Mulmala, the ideology, Minsoto. Political manipulation of Beminkeka. It lafta katilimbali amun ke banku dingolla. It lafta ka banko chika kadi bulo l'economy yanko. They are criminals. Ntele ya fonte pam. So Niko nkana wofo, and then itela stand is not to talk about that because you believe ko is irrelevant. Then let's leave it like that. I had your conversation with Bayo. You said it's not important. So I was not expecting you would have asked me about UMC.
How can I not ask you about UMC, Pa? That's crazy with everything that you have. Listen, okay, let me come. No, so let me contextualize this. When I said bio, you guys should focus on the night. I said it in the Manneh call. Kabring for bio, in respect to this alka time we spend only UMC back and forth. You know, I think you know, because Akaminke, it takes you guys away from that's what I was trying to tell him. But not to say that no, Palmer, no, clearly you are so busy. In fact, Ella Facebook recently, I think December 3rd, 2025, you made a conspiracy theory on your Facebook. You said that your UMC denial, IECA denial in their application process. And I'm curious, information because you do claim a lot of credibility. You are conducting investigation, publish. Informational bonding because Parliamentary Dokula IEC man UMC denial registration. So how do you know those things? And secondly, fanang obo ye denkilo min fanang bonding. Obo jole puru ikan naman ni ka dinol jole puru yata denkilo la puru kan naman ni ka kebal nek yo fanan post ke la Facebook le. So things like that you can understand again muna na mulka fuko pa alka sila dorong ali cool deda ali fu cool mi ko man so because alka evidence bondi alka nyin kacha sifal ke dorong. So in effect to ba wala ke kuma ni conspiracy theory anu nga bayo fanan nyin kan nyin na le fanan, right? So I just want to know where do you get those things? Welcome mindole.
So, Ibrahim, in reality, are you expecting that I will tell you the information of Carle Adina, what I mean, so Carle Bulwalo? Do you expect that?
Of course, why not?
No, I don't think so.
No, I absolutely expect that. No,
Ibrahim, I will be the most foolish person on earth if I have to tell you Carle information, information of what matters is I know how credible I am, and then I will not only come out to say Kafoko nangam Ibrahim Tamitana Sanji Tan Nimfembe Ninkono, Sanji Tang and Nimfe. Ninga Sabero could be Moko, Niman Tonyat, even Tilfula Geladron Moina Foko Tonyale. Kabinga said, okay. They said, Ibrahim, do you really want us to go on this thing about UMC?
I do. I
I just want to
absolutely
know
do, Pa. And I think
okay. Okay. That is one thing you should also take note of. If you want something,
okay.
just don't deny it from one person, and then you want to accept it from the other person. If you don't want to
No,
talk about
I'm not
UMC,
I'm not doing that.
let me put it. If you don't accept it from bio, that we internal engagement or basically our engagements are based on opposing UMC on daily basis, I am not expecting you will ask me. But if you go to a length of asking me, you should now be satisfied. And then anybody else can also open his mind. Wala modo mi yalonko abekedele guest yo yesilo di wofana na diamu about UMC. Or any other person mu yalonko yaje on social media be diamka UMC la kola. Alalonko, this is not about a particular fight between Paman and Inkari, but we are fighting against something we yalonko believe tako aske Ibrahim na dimul na nafati sam. Probably something that you don't say.
All right. Then we continue. Then we continue. Let me just say that, I have no problem with you. You can spend an hour here, and no problems at all. In fact, I'm happy you can take as much time as possible. But my job is I don't just let people just go on when I have reason to interject. My interjection, but if I've given you a lot.
You can interject me anytime you want. You can interject me anytime you want. But in the no bio in Almanya, UMC is not important than you people talk about UMC. I'm not expecting you to ask me any question regarding UMC issue. Some fun and all focus. Go on with it. And even if you don't ask me, I can elaborate. Don't worry.
But I feel like we are on a non-point. It's not even that important. If I go for bio, forget about ngamin for bio. Let's move on. What I said to bio, what ngamin for the reason for bio is because of the back and forth. So many cases all left in the instances where it a Facebook post on your Facebook talking about things you have credible evidence. So I didn't ask you for the source of those information. What I asked you is, how do you come to those conclusions? Is what I asked you. Is the reason more there's a lot of, like, if you're saying somebody like, oh boy, a musician in the Gambia, that is not just a mere allegation. That's an allegation.
No, but it's serious. Can you give me a proof that I was speaking to oh boy? Yalo Ninko, you are paid to insult your own parents. But I have not mentioned oh boy. Did you see mention any name? I've not mentioned any oh boy. No, it's a possession ye samba what. Itele ko pabe oh boy la. Those are for no kombe talib lela. Those are for no kombe Ibrahim Adibala. Those are for no kombe Sisila. Wala is for no kombe awatambe dulela. I don't mean to. No, it's a co. It's a idea from the boiler. But the phone for example, the candela. I can say that. So it could Nisidungo Niabula Karabalia. Munta Mukumoti, we are married. Let's move on. Come with something else.
Okay, we're going to move on. UMC quote or Walla Talib. If you don't want to talk about it, that's totally fine. But do not use Kafoko Ibrahim. No, that's not the excuse. I don't think that's a good enough excuse for not to talk about. If you don't want to talk about it,
if you no, I'm just bringing you back. Ibrahim, I want something, and I need to be honest with you. I am a very consistent person. Kabinte dunda politiko kono yellow minandol. Yalo no kaya bora bulale akmobi ka tisoto bara I mean for be lori wolto anda be fala wolto daki anon kabinga dun talib la koro there are witnesses mulialon ko be jang one of them amanta politiko kono anymore wolen kemo siseti ngafo kemo ko kai ko one of the meetings that we had with some elders of the party ngai ke mon kai ka dunyi mon kono so tun tele maltel bela di nyoti ja ngai lolu ngamalla ku wala nin talib so nin namalla ku nte apa. That is the ending of my political career. Molte moy la banko kan koteke talib wol mun diate bole kelanna ibendo ya la politiko kono andum betara do ya molle kono on their own will ngay ko nak bari mbe fo ante mu sarolti nka wayle ndebe dawo dan ton simfan ko ban and I'm proceed to go on this and I will fight for banko dingol yaaje ko pamane kam ngel wolen sobe yata nyim banko ke mo si se babalul ne kuman kala modol bi jentol to fono but it is ke mo fono because min be nothing mboshi di kan the same thing applies to him ngay tan dala ko look al nyaabe nyinna ka bondi 2018 congress la nga fero bekele nimbatina nyim patio tilimbali yamu yalon ko le ba kono akana tara kono nga fero bekele pour to nyaay sabati fanan na lewulot bari moje dawolanto molle ba nyaatu nte minno wala nga ko ko sabe nalal dunia kum fanante te kere ko rasulullah wala be kere ye kuje mi yalon ko believe ta ka manyen nakake andum ya believe ko nyimbe ke ka nyame na nislo anta ye mol kalam tan mi yalon ko le nyanta kalam dala ni la moy yellow responsibility tale ni me la moy yellow responsibility tale. And then this is exactly what I've done. I've engaged our people, I've spoken to them, and I've warned them about Talib and Alamuli Betaulaya Ningega, including Mr. Dabo. And Ibrahim ante nyimfo Mr. Dabo ala uso kononte ate ani ala nkai ko nit ku keta jammi yalon ko Talib wol ye nyim patieta ku keta mu yalon ka manya nakake. We are not going to hold anybody accountable. We will hold you accountable. Mr. Dabo is sitting and Al Alpha Yabe. Ibrahim ante tonya fono Mr. Dabo al ade male Alpha Yata Mr. Dabo te nyimban ko kanya. Nte wakil nte tonya fono way because ngala nte tonya fo Mr. Dabo mbe fani ala bay ninga fani afa I'm not helping him. I want him to be the president of this country. Oto mum mala nyato ta dimbol fulay mum mu tonya dimbol fulay even na tra kuyata en ka fayda nin bante believe ta kun kam fo nyi nyinke bala na fambe bulari wonno ni Mr. Dabo kita president to be Ibrahim ta manta ke minister manta ke permanent manta ke ambassador manta ke office dokulati. I don't believe in working in offices. Ibrahim Taman believe salary la. Karo if I have go nin karo fa de kan go 70,000. Taman believe what? Nte believe ta matimatol. So nka ko kunke Mr. Dabo nka kai ala na la kila kama. So wala I'm not scared. Ni Mr. Dabo kan fa tan kama faman kan fa. I'm not scared of that. I'm only scared nin nata Mr. Dabo ya na nyonya ko ni jibe nga fani afa ngam ko. Ndama hani wodama. So ngami no nyin ke ba mbole kila. Ngami no nyim banko e mbole kila nyim banko. Ngami no nyim banko di mbole kila. Bari kany mul beje kadi amte Talib wolle Ibrahima wolle atodum fam kara façon ko ndaman Talib mu fenna hani bi so man dan ka fole Talib la kamina be bulari wolle Ibrahima le mallo walo dulado kara fam lo walo dulado anu sama so man da wolle mun lo dulado ye kuru yale ke tawla yale ke ye banko dingol le jamfa Mr. Dabo le jamfa. Ibrahima has long been undermining Mr. Dabo hani janjambure anunto lota janjambure nga fu Mr. Dabo Mr. Dabo was ever protective of Ibrahima aya mutale ko ana dingo aya mutale ko afansun dingo Mr. Dabo wo fonte famay wodo Mr. Dabo nyanta min kilani Ibrahima tema ya kele Ibrahima le mallo alo dulat kara façon comme buli cha fu society ndele ya nde pamani ya bula dawda kata wolto ya keri ndi ko woleke Ibrahima
kalo fo do my way
there are people muli yalo who have no say in any society ye tere keri ndi minne ka woleke ye bula minne ka wole bula so mol muli yalo ko wolle mo kendol ti nyimpati wolle do ya nyimpati ko muli yalo ko e manke je fenti wolle ka ke pati ko no fenti and then this is what I'm fighting. Ibrahima kande jo damento wuli mwani lu in Africa no filino je man fem filino je mi yalon ko be kanjo fen. So it's more than how people think. Ntening Talib will temo be nyame. It's more than that. And then I can go to any level if that is what is required.
So what is it going to take pa puru nganying chapter nyinta in UMC because akamuta paibe ikanying ku ngela live jibela kennek ngela yalon ne ko kachanyin dara nyam ngela ko wolful babakel. So what is it going to take puru nga bonyin lando puru nga continue ngamin for bio asiva mole for ko tenge ka en choko because albita kan nyamen party back and forth the personal issues albita kan nyola life kono nyamen. I think it's not healthy. That's from one brother to another. Ntaman karafalong si konton killing order Malaysia but I'll be mun brother leti. Ngal bele horoma. We don't agree politically but I literally respect and admire all of you because of ngalo noko Gambia be college. UMC Nkolo the same. At the end of the day, I told you but they're looking for the same thing. I told Fanang, at the end of the day, you're looking APRC call and NPP call. But I think the most important thing is how do we engage each other without going personal? Because ningtara personal, when we attack each other, nanga nyo ura kafo kono. Njawle da mawole ka jela molla. Ntolbi mu Gambia de Gambia mbe kon college. So what is it going to take?
Ibrahim, UDP manjaw soto muntamida UMC la. BBBBB. There is no enemy of UDP in politics muntamida UMC la. Kakumas ila dindi merang kafo taliben suda kumo. BBB ni saja ko UDP eteya betela. They will not compromise with that. So mol kafu ko alinga lo andanga fenkata nga compromise nga compromise ko dolla nga kata mbeke kilingoti. Will be mu banku di yakano damandi. But deep down in them, billahi wallahi tallahi coming for model be kono ka fo Mr. Dabo be fala janim be fala election ola. That's I can recover for. Yeah, this is how deep they go into politics. This is why I'm not giving them. Ngo Ibrahim ante nintela for information I go for it. I go for it. If it were 10,000, I buy it. Because ngale nako bankola solo le. I feel in Kambole kela. Because information on my price. Those that we are informing, they are only there to consume. They are only there to listen. But in Castro Nyamine Mo. Dolbe je 3 o'clock suto le ke kumandi. Dolbe je katere hajo le ye kumandi. Dolbe je before they talk to you, you have to beg them because they don't have trust in you. Dolbe je they have trust they kanale diam. Dolbe je jani kadiam ko mako credit nanga. Molbe je mule alfalle muiti. Ike ki nko nyinta eta nyidla nanga be nyini kenyeje. And the UMC call ko malla kon ka information no soto la kola. Sama so manan safo ni kabin talibota ala bungo kon adun tamu ko jemal kon walla janna ka dum moto kona ay minni kala ko dabunda bari nga jelo ko dol be je na fata andu mobi ka information o dintala don nim borbay nade wolu moyen kumandile akonyi baro tentente ngani modol be line nkay ko bari niaje nyinketa nyinne nyanta kaki niaje nyim fanan keda nyinne ya mere te murla eta la finding nyini bam akata nyamina teninte na akonyi ko I will come back to you. And mobe je mu yalan ka benji be kanjang wolen commande woyata fanan commande we made the three way call. So amante ko moni information o kanante aldo nimbor bayen ko farati nimboroita. I don't operate that way. Billahi wallahi Ibrahim nga feo fon for UMC la ko. Ibrahim adi bala ko ta din kara façon kanim momu yalan ka biye alon ko ngatonya def. Because meta konone. Ya kennale. Karafa coming for Mr. Dabo, I am not a cup of tea of Mr. Dabo. To a point. Ndata for wato dolbije. Ninda fon fota Mr. Dabo la. Mfankalo ko yinke ba man kontane na ko. Because you feed me. Because you mean fire. Because you ento muntinya. But nte alon tening ala temo. Nte alon ko mbeni ke ba nyimbe lo keka ala kama kila kama. Na manke woti don ala mankane ndimo tinin so Ibrahim anenim politiko da mal tutaji nga fili je ngata na hajol because I'm not expecting anything bar ngala ni misala bo keta president ji banko kanja banko dimol mun soto ngo ko wokata na fer the type of person he is. I know that. So mol mami sadabo lo wolle betara siri betara kuma kuntamol fola bari te ama Ibrahim na ba nyama Mr. Dabo munketani Ibrahim tema. Ni Ibrahim Dibai Mr. Dabo filige. After serving him 29 years. Trust mu yalan ko lebelari tem. Ani dunta min kono akole yakono. Ifinti min kono adia kono. Yemin se Mr. Dabo ya Ibrahim lo ndaminto. A dimol dundaminta ka dumol. Aya dimol mutanyame na ya mutawol nyam. ni Ibrahima misrabo filige jamal nyanta Ibrahima mutala ni hakilo be ba me banko mu me ben. I'm not even talking about Taliban Sudan. Let's pull politics aside. DBB, United Democratic Party, Ninte Lamin Manneh filige as my brother. Ngambo Shedi kan filige as somebody me yalon ko ma foy brother anymore in politics. But ko be de kuntan na tema. Billahi wallahi ngamu mu te nyantala na ko pamane ama ay ka jimondolo bulamu bara man ken fenti. Nta mahani mola mi yalon ko ka kunu mo kuntan mo. By Ibrahim ay politiko ay misadabo la family filige talib la kola. Ay misadabo filige talib la kola. Ay UDP filige talib la kola. Talib be mune sambala nyimbanko kanjang UDP nene mami fomoli. Talib ye mo ambition le soto nyimbanko e UDP nene mami soto. Talib ye mo sacrifice si fale soto UDP nene mami soto Ibrahim. Janin talib ka wulu wala kabirin talib e sidim posamburo kantele ya fonte pamani. Wotumo United Democratic Party the same message ka wole deliver Gambians to the Gambians. Nsontale molbi jemli yalon ko alfalle moyti e ko talib bama ya kata nyimbanko ele. Talib bama ya kata United Democratic Party ankay nsontawol ba be yinata ko su kay da ba dingol le babu inyina ko ndogo njaay dingol le bo fanam bulu ami ben suday mene ke UDP no njaay ma minke be nyinen karo ke lawa no njaay din jemale ye position de minna ko na ta ke nyim position bato a 40 mankat gos woli akele bankola ko kam nin talib na da party kono as a young ma wo time manke politician but ay na fulota ay na fulo tambindi molbe je miliyalon ko alfalle moyti imam alamuta yo na fulo jibe foi position ci kaya di talib la Ibrahima nim man tonya ko be faniale fola and mo kidinte in dunya ko mu warta tonyati wo mari tekeri so ni opposition ci kaya di Ibrahima talib la molbe sonta wala nte ay campaign for Taliban Sudan in 2018 ntele majane ni kadi amute nyame nimma jane kadi amunu wole nyama on daily basis na do yata fa do yata 3 times a day hana be lari loktano to na sasata na kadi amu janni mo kilimba kalam tala kantele kumandi on his sick bed makam min fonu Taliban Sudan ente tulo yalo ente tulo ya moyle ton mul kala ente na ente ni magdamma ate yalo ente yalo ala yalo kilalo bari nga nyinde fay nta ko maka ko nta do ko munke mumum be mo be te jolala ando momon ka do ko ke pour hana madi ngoy njola alon ko bo mari be fala bonole kon because mo ni na be ko to ina taraje abeta mun kele la sama ala da male wolo ala da male ko moddo ay yedo ko mun kay that is the fact Ibrahim bam ma ke kumo be fo talib wala na la ko bi kante dinina nay mbatu let me land mboto auto fo talib ya nga campaign kaya kita meyoti je fonte man nta tekeno la meyoti yudi musa janne fo fata keno la meyoti fo modo tekeno la meyoti modo sikeno meyoti bari obe cika ya di talib la atara musa janne ala live be kinyim patiye talib nata patiye kono less than 6 months talib ka mol doya ka mol nengi ka mol ci ya tayta mol ne for example Rohilo I am not at a very good position to talk about Rohilo's case ko ngama dawde safa dingol tolala Rohilo ka nyini ne kay Rohilo bika hani bututo abika dina ndele ya fo on a platform Ibrahima ninte ya fo kam ni ke mol bal na yara fang nyini be keri bari horoma mo ka ci horoma mo damati nyinde ko be mol jabila mbeta Rohilo le offendi andu woman kunni Rohilo te hani ndama kontan Rohilo kola ntane na public nta kajef la public nte fem folay because mumbe na ketema baro mati na nyinna ta tawnya phone wala ma ko mani telephone ngabo ya kan that is the type of person I am nde si sanji saba ni Rohimandia ko sa nata lo wanyo mi jam moliye kamo ci kaya diala ko ni tata ñu fo Mr Dabo nga ko man kay ko yesa mbala mi na ya fo Mr Dabo la ko nte manke Mr Dabo la wuluti wala nte man kala ci lar lati ngan kuntala 3 years mbi kala karama for last year la ke nata jango en sambaya ndaman ke jaf society so mol kana mira ko Rohilo fole ate ndeka talib lota dawdan momul lota je be kala ko talib kele nyame because this party does not belong to anybody, it belongs to the Gambians, moreover the electorates. so nimbe kelo kela mbe kelo ke kam pour kanyim patio ka londi pour banko dingol bondi ko le mune ati nan bobe kafu nan ko ngadi send individuals la pour wolete fan nafaji. Where is the interest of the remaining of the Gambian people? Muliana ko bulol me kobe. And the United Democratic Party kamun for UDP dingoli. Kamun for tanko dingoli. Follow mo itela stance. Nyinte kala malotinte ani modo muliana ko they believe in the principle of UDP. Yaji Taliban suda ina nyim party ko. I cannot use. It's not because party loves him. It's not because I potentially soto. It's not because I sacrifice leke. But because kodole babulu mo believe ta ko kodole babulu wala tne nyanda patriarchal ya di Taliban suda ko da be kala tele malolti ko to UDP e mum be fo nyimoliye nyimba banko kan for the past 29 years abe haban manso. And this is what I told Mr. Dabo. This is what I told Mr. Dabo.
So pa o jamale mo mi yalan ko safiri no wato be so but la fe nyinin kala e be nyimbe fo kan nyimbe kumatal. I think you raise very important points. But it in Kalamuta Mintola, because you have to also realize, which I think you know, because you're a smart person. Clearly, wisdom Jamal Soto, Alhamdulillah. Taliban la pati la kono and then UMC Moli Kamil for the Ibrahim Dibanyolu, Ibrahim ni Usenu Dabo, Moli London for a long time. In fact, Molka for Usenu Dingolam Ibrahim Kedla, the Mianka Dingol Bedami. But I'm just curious though. You be bola no min ibe damin to nun kabra laftila aliyesika. Say bota hoto inata ke nyimo koron ti mi yalan ko kodo e kole use ila fa la pati nyintala wakata nyaadi le atol mo jennon kabri be dun kam pati nyin kono foy dun da pati kono foy kata national organizing secretary ti pati nyin kono especially Talib fo kabra bota kabra je ko ate a flag bearer nyin sura nata pati nyin kono so wolon ku jama nata ngalon ko ku jama be fokan non mi yalan ko molke kala mota bo kaba finda pati nyin kono so ku jama nata findil lankene moto so lave nyin kala le wakata nyaadi le how did UDP as a party allow people like that to even like situations like that will happen
that question I think is a little bit confusing because yala mumu problem mod ntete na tara bin telephone ala platform mod ade no dembe mu banen yala nimbe na la platform mod dafle Ibrahim kana banen dirol I will be very mad pour nga fo Ibrahim nindi am tafo halfway tenin be mu banen you will not accept it. But intentional I am purposely here to insult people. Sonte betara diamla ngata diamla do nga bani diri back. Janni ka fanyi bani diro bula do nga bani diri back ko. This is how it happens. Talib came in with his intentions. I kukendo it and UDP dingol la faya muta ko mo kendo le mati. But at the end of the day Talib is another person. So he uses his resources kamol sang through the process. Talib ni nyimol mul bebe ku killing bi mo dan tan bije dol bije mol kat alaji sidia foko nanta mol ne nyama je nyaala karafa bika diamu nte man karafa predict no nyim ko be kono folungo mi na resign ta andu nyanning karafa ka resign as a brother billahi wallahi tallahi ngamo kiyaka woko nyoko nangam because mom pare ngafo karafa be suspect la jamali afo nkai ko lafta eta karafa ya fa teninta ko nyoko pantano la kwenye kabila nata nyimpati kono karafa he is as close as tenin andu nyinni be natema nyin nangam bari nin tata ya kabila nata pati kono he is the first person mu yalon ka enkele fom yalon ka enkele pati kono akonya I am not at the position pour ntete la kilaro ndafo le karafa songo kumandi ngai karafa ko ankai ko you are my brother and then you mean everything to me ngai karafa ko ankai you have worked for this party. I acknowledge that. I did not stood against you pour ko ngambe tole. But I saw you in a path mu yalon konte fa yalon ka mambete. Reconsider ibelori nyamin. And nga advise le as a brother. So in fact na labanta daminta ko nyago dukare kana nyina na ataya la because normally ntel ka ataya sangay. Data ka sangay Senegal nga potol fenka nga ci ay Gambia be minna. So mol kana mi konte I don't like this guy. Talib kan ku kono mu yalon kala sama torole after wo wularo moyen ko ate karfa kilimo tata katawo ya ko de ka kantele tinya ko ndel kam wolne social media mbuta momo advice la ni wularo wala rakino he call another person pour kantetinya anu karafa baluri na kuman kala baninna bende camera kanina man ku ken karafa ku jama le kentela awatambe dube baluri ne kol mul yalon ko I kante to safe fam pour ngadi am UDP to yala karafa kanto bondi je for no reason anu politiko ko nin karafa fula fonte be saba soto na biko ntele hakilo warta ntele idea start bari nyanta fe fe mbula la bulu ngabula bulle nyanta horman dila la ngadi yalla andu ma doya ante bika mo doya ninda nyanta tala bunyo kan bika sound nim palantero la ngata ni step sole fo jani be sel la bunyo that is how I operate so nte kinte nata UDP ngeda by follow tije andu ngal as long as I'm United Democratic Party sikeno ko kun tije bari nte sapila kuka so nga mbulata nyili no mo wol nyam Ibrahima nyini kadi same thing ni etidi ni ala temo if I have to talk to anybody I talk to you and nakara fa ngani mum fay nol fa Ibrahima ina muso hayna balo ne kumanka lundo belali ndarangol kan kay ko luk ay mu hakon ni na muso belali sama I will get back to you bari ngam mum be fo nga advice ko lay ke ko Mr. Dabo ake kali nyani ala temo kanene to Mr. Dabo bulalaji so ni won nara kudoke they have nothing to tell me ibe ko kun kono adia ko le may telle anu ngano koy mantra dia kono jam fay momu wati wallahi billahi taala yetu mala itete andi Ibrahima min ke Mr. Dabo la jam fale aya doya kaneng direct or indirectly nte permanent leni aka nenne direct or indirectly aka mulki pour ya neng ay na finti banda ko ali fonyo yinke ba ne so I have to show them I have to make a stop to it ikanyi ne kanu
sorry me ko yes comme yemi fofana iko kabring UMC call bada la pati nyon kono say nendir lal bi ko soto yo fole ko say ibuka moja finna banda ka Ousainou Dabo neng iko UMC call mantere je say o problem man so UDP ko tanke UDP kamutale ko mo bebe kankilin ne say mo bebe Ousainou Dabo ka sama State House 2026 wo be dendi munela fanang ni so of kacha demanding janim be bula later.
No, but that is very, very clear for people to see. The only thing you see wala nyimpodo fenkoti and then most accounts all muliyalon ko ekeda kanaka misabani and but if kaje any conflict within the party muliyalon ko they basically they were not enemies but they disagree on political matters bi ko leje ka kuke modol bige num ni wol benda fangol pare nyenya ko no jibe now those people call me and I call them as what? This is not about Manneh and anybody else. Because Ninkomba explained that this is me. I in fact felt guilty. Because it's like I'm surrounding the basic thing on myself. Like it's about Manneh. This is not about Manneh. It is not about Talib. It is about United Democratic Party and the Gambia. So now Talib felt ko if because I they promised him, come make a president, you are going to be our candidate. Talib man political. That is the promise they gave him. So atafanan diamuta juna ko atelolo ko as candidate in KMC. Now that he is not willing to stand, ako janna be fola ala political fame la, let him quit United Democratic Party. But what mu masiboti? Wala masi hana tutanu UDP aning organizing secretary mutabu talibi eta for 2026 ay kelo mu me be biya ka effort mun ke nay woken billahi wallahi tallahi be sonia bala pour Mr. Dabo eta State House ma fo bi hanim bi Mr. Dabo eta State House ntelinga commitment no mun soto wala ngal no mun soto ko Mr. Dabo ke la president 2026 bila warta katambe kun bari Ibrahima mu toñata nin talibol be je nun kafa wol be je Ibrahima wol be jabe sonia la wol nya then mun carte bi Ibrahima wol bentene munna Karafa kantene munke they would have used that energy on Adama Barrow, but Karafa was not appearing on media houses because ala personal friends will be Adama Barrow ya Lami Cham will be he does talk to Adama alkamin defo ha ala diamu mebe mo kirinta mo la karafay kumo fo adama mi yalon ko kija fara kumo ne dama ke president kabirin kata banku yayola kabirin kata fenka mo bele yalon ko jani ka mo ke president kata banku yayola and ngalon ko mo mun kata president mo le ke president. Now, why explaining to the Gambian people what importance will be Karafala was statement on? But now he is coming out. He can insult me. Now he is going to all the medias. He is appearing in the medias on weekly basis. For 29 years, Karafane Manta Facebook Live. He came Facebook Live purposely to insult people, to castigate people.
Afanam ko batel nen kan ata fanam bol fo kankal interview da ko tel kamol nen akoy be siring karan ako usenu dabo tata mindo iman taw fon jibe fon be siring ibe mol nen nandron ibe siring dabo. He accused you of that.
Anybody can say that. Anybody can say that. Karafay min ko ante tata fast nangana karafay proof kilim fintindi ko ay tandi molla ko nte tata fast len felen ni usin la pichole ni to wala nim felen nin karnin ka ay wo fintindi na moli anunte do ko ma be wodla to le ni yalla ko karafa be bori kan karafa yake pu permanent. If I want to have information, I have. Karafa was in Sweden for 2009 8 or 9 amuta na nyimbanko kanja ima deport afangol muta na fangay because Karafa man yalla ko dol bije nta fono le platform nta fongo la platform sa fono le is on my responsibility ba ko dol bije nta sa la Karafa su ko nyanta danna daninto because ndani Karafa be boto nyomile ba dingol le ba bulu jam ba dingol le be bulu jam anonte kam fada nyaw nyala ko kamay ko ni be ko mbatude nka la musola ko jibe you can move baby no. Majority of them, if baby learning small either you believe this or not. Ilawo mbasan dunami yalan ko ikaso mbasanyola from time to time. Anim fana mol mi yalan ko keje ibe fe woda wo mu yalan ka da ko bebe fa nyingola. Wol bi keje wol billahi baby learning single mo le ko. Imam ko tutay family. Those are the people mu yalan ko talib ko wolle ba ko. No, Ibrahim, let's just be factual. This is not about Taliban United Democrats. This is about our country. Be headlines or ka headlines or the this is funny, this country. It's very, very funny, Gambia. It is me the banko al halom belaringe. Iko pamanela kumo ikata wole safe as headline. Do you think this country is serious? No, this is not. Number to dorong Ibrahim, there are people Maria on the phone not see that Nika killing from Katal Minge. So he will type quick at a headline or the wallet. In a country, we are not massive Belarinka. Our youths are not working, women dying in hospitals, there is no food to eat. Majority of families are going to bed on with empty stomach. Security is fragile. Banko baby Borimborina Molbe Molie, but there is no unity in this country. When the president should be busy unifying the country, media houses should be busy. Kafungoli tandi bankola media lanko banko dingola na fale wot. Alikana fo moli ko Karle nyin safi. Ako UDP te win nola, Barote win nola, Karle be win. Woman information on. Amarito.
Ebe MC Chamle. Ebe MC
Chamle. No, Ibrahim. You don't have to laugh. Ibrahim, this is serious. It's very serious.
You have a very dangerous.
No, this is very serious. Let me tell you one thing. I feel ashamed. Ningaji media household empty lab to pick. When Bakar Baji should be delivering na stadium or Haina. It's not serving. Nin na timo kafindi nin Gambia squad kafindi nyanta ka play ikata play outside. All right, we have issues murialon ko need to be addressed. But nganyaka su obela nkonka bula mole no murialon ko they are well move political. I would not call them prostitutes. It's a big word. But when you buy knowledge. No, I did not. I was just I could not Ibrahim. No, the point is we need to understand this. We need to understand this. There are people who be natrambe tonyale fola. Wol di amta dawana mo kilimanye la moila wala nyimbanko. At least Ibrahim have served UDP 29 years. At least Karapak have served the UDP for 29 years. But MC Chamle, Bibe Jambakere, Samebe Buluri, Samebe Populi, Samebe Fenkari, who are you? It's a lot of minela. And then you want to sit on a public platform, and then you want to preach people ye consistent. Huh? Ita ama nyimba ko mandu masibo kono kabiri MC Chamle nyanta nala sila kafo mole statistics katama nyani momumbika MC Chamle sakino afamai. But I'm not blaming anybody. I am sometimes blaming the media houses.
And I'm gonna have MC Cham here at some point. I hope, hopefully, because I think it will be fair like that too, because of one side of the conversation we're carrying science and but I have just to make the point that look, MC, I don't know him personally, publicly, but at the end of the day, we just try to make sure we're not passionate in our analysis. And right now, I feel like you're going really hard on him. And if you probably say something.
I am not. No. You don't. No. I am not. You don't put that word on in my mouth. Ibrahim, anybody can do this. Gambian ol yalon ko kidente kante jakal Gambian ol ko. Isi mo furi mbaje mo yalon ka manken fenti ata fenke no la fango. Ya fu kaftano la dunka ay wo kaftani kilimo dundo na finte dare kay ko bo yange chebde itla ko be betiarin adiamta dawda molsi la mo yala wo kamin fo fo malon anda te malon ka amalon mol mu ke la mo ya dole be je woli yalon ka malon bari malla fika fay ko ite kanyum fo malon bari abula be diamo la misleading people mu yalon ko wol fana malon ka te malon bal mol be je mu yalon ko telephone yalon ko MC ka fo fo ate fo malon ka min fo at least you hear from the person you MC kalamoyle for ngala fila fala but I coming from Mikala. That is serious. So talib ko wolle bate kala president to nyimbango. No, this is serious. This is very, very serious. You don't have Mr. Dawa.
We gotta move. We gotta move on. Finally, UMC call and you won a conyo comala UMC call kacha.
No, but I'm we will look for a specific day.
My friend, when you catch will make it. No, but love you somewhere down the science and the whole of Nintiko. Honorable Davo. UDP party. I think one thing that stands out is Ikadabola candidates in push nyame. Kamo jama jele la social media ni tara je ka UDP member jama la je bari te kan dabo dorong UDP akamo de la focus be moldi pour 2026 so la fini kala UDP la performance covering 1996 and inside mathematician olu hani mi manke mathematician olu de why mi yalon ko political e domain kala mo je e kam for olonko e la performance be jikan in terms of numbers but also I like to always recognize especially Jambela time the atmosphere was not so somewhat a free and fair elections. About Koleala Pulmoyo case make because of Jambe Sembo Mbesoro and Infanang pre-election Kake and also the power of incumbency. So one could also make the case Kafoko UDP was not fairly treated or election Tambida. But Nina Reboda 2016 to election full Tambida. UDP lose the diamond a number of Mejikan. Munad Neti, what do you think that happens and how I to say supporting consolidate no nyadile to make sure 2026 ali yet da work White House. I'm feeling for White House, America State House in Gambia.
It's the same thing. You know, Ibrahim. Look, the matter of fact is ndamantara bankudo ndebe Gambia because ni ko mbe Senegal fa Gambia science ni wul tan kacha Gambia. So nsi will know jan science la fatal down to Gambia ngataji. Ibrahim, we engage people on daily basis. Wala na kabiri nga mo secretary and layla analysis samanang iko every 100 people 47 people go barole be sila aje ikadiyama nintel tata jotayal nin sita jotayal bi nim mo tanne be jalon ko mo woro be ba fala ko barobe boyla wala manda carte fayla son del fangol damal fa mfangol damal ka fengoli nyini fang wala ka investigation kem fangol yen election be bol la nyamina. And then if you recall in 2016 political keta nyamina wala janibe fala 2016 UDP ka political ke nyamina the same atmosphere wala be wo funya kilimo wala mutana nyimbanko kanya political la ala noise nyinjitale support base nyimbangi. People do not understand this. When Talib was leading UDP with together Karafan, all those people, ika musical equipment on the Sambanang, wala imol Sambanang milialonko. Ibn Ali Burla Tantangoli Kosi Moli Senyola Urubaeke, UDP taking one crowd from one place to another. Your tactics in the play, and they were fooling UDP members. Be woman Jakotake. UDP, they went back to their normal political activity. Ika political tamandi yami na solo sanen beje, lamaron beje, sukai da haba beje, nogo njai beje, modo ni modo beje, muli alonko political legends on the world in UDP. Wo political mo musa wale ka. Wolen ka muli engage muli alonko wolle kangol so nyimbanko ka. Wolle nyimbanko dingolti. Ke kalam dandi kulla mili alonko wolle be kering political la karo. Ngam fo ñu tantam ko sola andu UDP ye wala tuje jani mol bala nako UDP pareta adama baro kamale iko al nanan kana results la wolu ne bala nako fo alaji Hussein Beke la president yi mbanko fa de la president and Ibrahim we should be very 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 factual to one another yaje nte ni ala temon ko wala fo amanke ko talibo lata diata nyar man dianya to be honest bari ngaji nti amira ko talibu wala bo UDP nafa bale nyim patiye yaje be fofen kono alkon katani ni ndrol jannal be wulla damal be nyo kelel altata dawdan talta ko tela je UDP ni kata bi kankilina kata ite sonka moy la je ite nyo saba moy la je ite nyo nem moy la je ite fen moy la nyo la je mitino ka kele faay bangi bi ka fem ba wo time mo talibul bi je ani Ibrahima diba tal kata sidi nay ay ala kamodi nyimol ila tami yediam wolbe diamola e mala fe mi yediam wote diamola patie son kamesengo son kamesengo foto e bang akjol ila tami yela bol kono wolle ke la na alfa ka fonte nene tara kawur e man la billah wala taala yusfa sedi kan be jam kumanta wo so manda abebi ka fo talibi mun be ke UDP woton telbe mbanna talib to nyaade pati ya bele ke talib man fenke nyim pati ba Ibrahima na si ya jibe fo nyim pati fa boltal fa mum boy mum man political wala ka fo ko UDP boy mum man political UDP la boyo ni sainte mojele la fata UDP ka Ibrahima anybody can do that ndasi sino le science ngana ko kan natam fasu analysis de ndemo hanama di wada I have my own mind son kata sine ngamira nyinne keta nyinne nyanta kila manya na kila tenga keta tenne nyinne manya na kila pamane sa jeno otherwise asimira non jin fana nyanta kala wala nyimanya na keno ni aje nyin kita ten do sa jeno so nkana mira ko nim bakari e mira nyame na wo miro wolen tonya ko pamane nyante mira nyame wo miro man ken tonya Ismaila nyante mira nyame no wo miro man ken tonya ntelbe kam mira na miro le difference so nkana mo miro ta nga ta nga ke nyala mi yalon ko fon yalon ko nyin kam mira nyin ke mira nyame is perfect UDP sembo mo so bi ni alate mon tela miro ama wo so even in 2016 and the whole na fonin kate fighter and ni momul lata ko mi sadabo be winna ita da danta tallu alon ko ndeta mi kebe fula wala nyil kany mum be foten data ni nyine nata data hada mandi mole kade da out of 917,000 ndo mbatu wrong out of 917,000 voters yeta ita mo di kilin keme fulani tanani lu nyininka iko lebe wala ba qualify la dol that is completely impossible
it's a sample
no Ibrahima majority of Gambian people ni nyinin ka ko fo e mo le nyinin ka jam fu baro be winna iba fle makalam ye jamal le nyinin ka ndel mu Gambia dingo ndel yalo ne mo be nyim banko Ibrahima mo tan sita dawna mo seo be yalo ko adam baro boyla mo kana mo nyene wala wobe ko irim banko be la mo tambe siri dawdan ndel mu be fon mo mon kantel be la mo Ibrahima ita fo yera mo kumandi ye mo tan kumandi dawdante ya nyinin ka jamal be winna moli e ning ala temo fo e fon balon na pa kam fo
pa bar yalla so ikani mo jama men fran nyinin ka Gambia ikani mo jama men fotem kam nyinin ka ten internet be yalla ne ko Gambia especially funding kel buka carte fay funding ke jama buka register hani register fanan ning carte fay o sita buka ta carte fay the real issue of voter apathy is real in Gambia is true, right? So it's one thing I feel like like the potential is there. More see like UDP UDP is not the biggest. If you don't acknowledge that, I think you are also you live in your own reality.
Do you want to acknowledge that for Talib MC Munyamatol because MC ko UDP te win. Ako UDP is not the biggest political party.
Ndeto fola at all. But maybe the gaga minna. And it
okay.
It is la jaga. Ndeto. Daga la minna wala UDP ko le kam kama, UMC ko le kam kama, NPP ko le kam kama. Ni wakata dora I know I'm doing something right. So kasi taje. But it's my job to be fair, and it's my job to give a platform to everybody to come. And I try to put the questions, and I try to be fair too. But level in Carabina though is that come Mojumaka afoeto, come Gambia mengalon ne ko batambi, and wala na model kafuko Gambia no fon batai delta because it will look in bata mu make a foka pareka carte fay mo kilo what because it's a falling low kino biko kino. But the milfana carte fay kajele eta ya sika ya di barola. Wala minketa 2021 Mojuma ba fuleko anga carte di barola wala fisi anga di dabola. So you so will
No. Emang kate di bayola barola bi ite ta fulan tek ka Arsenal le support matale nda fulan ka Arsenal le support aslane wi gemo na ngata lang si na bon ko ngakumbu. That is completely impossible. Mbe ajele jan 2021 mun keta ja je iko moli kate fay Adamo Barrow almost 2/3 of the Gambian people be kate fay Adamo je Adamo win yim banko kam banko be sunu ko e ka fole ko ye banko be le fa. Is that possible? Wo mo hadama di reality wo hadama di ngole ka si yemi ranyin ñi ñanta keno ñi mañana keno la. Only foolish people will subscribe to that idea. Je Adama iko Adama le winta with almost 400 and something thousand voters. Wo 414,000 voters mo masto mumba celebrate la Bangkok. Mo bebe la la bon mo bebe sengemre yalon surwa ka fu me senge. Imantara kumbo la bari be kumbo dalet. Alnanga kumbo kana kumbo. Dole be kumbo ke kono. Is that possible? Ibrahim woto nyantalo na ko kule keta mi manya na kel 2021 na kurobe ko la and ni momum pareta bono kulungo kono Ibrahim ta fam bafule ko ina UDP ni fo betara bono ko.
No, pa, in the past, I don't believe the election was stolen. And I've said this several times, but I can understand why. I feel like that's why Kumata UDP la case nung before the Supreme Court, Molia Moinung to understand UDP la case nung but in Dolan no Kotengial and Tamita or bari. In the person I feel ko Molia Karifa Adam Baroin and the science and the assessment. And I've said this on my platform, and I'll own it as well that I think Adam Barrow is at the pole position. Because data Japan because that's not the area that I sort of I don't trade in that. I believe in science, I believe in data, I believe in statistics, but also
that is how you operate. Tuba ukarani mo operate ne puruka molu tourne ni molu mankara. This is nimu demo tuba ukarani mo la tapala. Tuba ukarani mo le ka tapala ya ketendro. That's wrong. You and I know there is no political party in the Gambia who will publicly downplay this data. Hani man d'accord, if only alon ko nyinte keno. If only alon ko ate keno la fereng, they will come publicly ya smoothly, ye fanjo ko they subscribe to it, halinga domandoma, data bika fani yafo. But in them, it'll be muhadama dingoleti. Miss Damo muhadama dingoleti, Adama dingolti, Adama Boro muhadama dingolti, Ismaila muhadama bakar muhadama dingolti. Intellibe alon ko nyim findita teng. Kulebe laringa kunna wallahi. So tubabu karan dingol la fole nyinti don Ibrahim. So it's obvious ko ibe finti mom yena ayela kuma kamol fo ha nangam ha you don't play with data nangam nko ibika mo nyini ka nyirbe sini la mo le kono mu yade ko wala safe they don't talk to anybody.
No, ite lata lako tonya BBB nga quartier fay ni Ousainou Dabo ni Adama Barrow lo ite lata lako Dabo winna
ni ala ni kilate ma abe win si fa kala la monene ma ke mo la Gambia ko billahi wallahi ta ndele afani afo billahi wallahi ngawla fo ni ala ni kilate ko ngo ndele ka fimbe ka mo ni kale dindi ngol bentel bulu yalan ko taxi driver le woti ngam mol taxi driver nka fo ko ni mol dun la motor ko na ke question I do that as well. Foi olon Ibrahim. Billahi wallahi tallahi. I can name you one single person. Pa balde abejana taxi driver ma. Nka fay ko ni mol dun la taxi ko no mol nyini kala. What ni wadi nga call pa call be nyadi. A fanyi ko tenin beje. Alla garaso do mol ka kacha nyadi. A fanyi tenin ni dafa moy time so ngapin dinga ta mol noma. We also question people. Nyimu fina ngo tubabu karandi ngol la tapale yale nyiti. Mo kilin kana so nyene kali abe mu tapale yati. Ku te lari nga ko altel tubabu karandi ngol billahi wallahi Ibrahim mo la banko dun lan te sonna wala. Te sonna.
Ite sonna ndanyum bondi le block na bari. You know, mbafule ko do ko nyin la fa do ko nyin continue drum bari. Last question pa then maybe second to last. Of ku follow wala nyin diko two comes le be kering. And yen nyim follow fananko I think ning coalition mekela UDP ni mbela nyoka UDP have a leverage because atule warta anum fanang I think allo leverage alla fa use like to ensure that alla party nyaton ko eke coalition belo like ko party nyaton ko science thing atolla kachanying abe nyadi la nin juma lebe kachanying kono you know obviously manke you're not here as a party executive but ite munelo mimbe kikang ning coalition kachato science thing
side mala fambulo to wono la anyway ko man fello nje mbe fani ale fole but I am not at the position to tell you ningo ko man fello nje mbe fani afole I do speak to people muli yalo ko fello nje and I'm also advocating ninga fem mira je nkamo kuma ninga fa yama ndekela tenin I would not sit here to speak on behalf of the party. I cannot do that. I'm on the executives and I cannot speak on behalf. I'm not the PRO, and I cannot say what the party is up to as far as that case is concerned.
Okay. Well, last question. Then the last question on you for the pie. Prunga blaita pa. No, I promise. I just want to highlight to you. I think it's crazy because you were such a powerful force in Gambian social media.
This is rare. Almost 18 past 6 Mansali. 1 hour plus. You owe me.
So I just want to acknowledge that and appreciate that, to say that there are so many, over almost 300 people on YouTube, and in Facebook, 211 people are watching, and they've been consistently with us for over 2 hours. So we really appreciate it. You know, I'll follow Facebook, I'll tell you, follow, I'll support what he's doing, and I'll na YouTube video Dialectic space, I'll sit out and subscribe and support what we're doing. But finally, regarding, because but largely Italy Sija, you know, so I want to acknowledge that. So what is your message to all UDP fans or any more member banda they're thinking about politics, emendation make in terms of the cartel dealer daminto in election of Kanana. Allah grassroots support and in grassroots politics, atol miyalanko alek Gambia political faham albe on the ground. What is your message to ila mol miyalanko ke follow? And can UDP consider Barry? They have not made a decision yet. What is your final message to everybody?
Anyways, Ibrahim, I will take the opportunity to call on every Gambian, regardless. Mbota si Jamalto, mbota tribe Jamalto, mbota min told. Niko Gambia ko pour ko Gambia dimolle andum Gambia le nyata pour Gambia dimolle bilen sama wo kono to mondiro ka ci wolto ko mondromi yalon ko banko la nyatuta wala banko la nyaton ko nin ko beto mondro kela nkomba asambala si ko le kan jama ka samandi ni solo wu woto ni dingoli nte be diam la UDP dingol damay kenyis be kela ba UDP dingol damata kenyis kenola banko le be kenyis kela wala banko dingolti anum pour wo kenyis yake fu mol yake kilimati kol kake mol tema musonin kewo ka nyobula ina muru nyoka mol ka kele ina muru nyoka mol ka sonka e muru nyoka but wo be natare hakilo soto looking at the bigger picture. Somebody might be in APRC or GDC, PDOIS, ndeta UDP. Na difference totally in political perspective or nsafo na political view. But wo martin until be manke banko di. In this 2026, it is beyond UDP, PDOIS, or nsafo party level. It is about securing our country from criminals muliyalon ko ibe banko la naflo tinyakan ibe banko torakan ibe banko dingol batandikan adama do ku dingol mutara mol bul amam ku do ku di molla baddo mari mum fanan be jay wala fanan tinya dul bulu tinyata wala kono ye factory jelle soro mol me be do ko ke ko ndar bi ka ke nyaadi ko le yabe nyim banko mol kate lay bul kono kense mol ka sinya sabado mo tiloto biwol ka fulale ke doli kili family head solbe bori mbore na soma ndawula la tribula abenyi masa kunda mi yalon ko ima siti ima feri woto muntu taje wolen telibe ya long tele njemati alinga si ko bon tema 2016 mun keta jam is a clear example ni aje jamme bonni nota jam jamme is 10 times powerful than Adam Barrow. But Niaje, we succeeded to remove Yaya Jame is because we were unified. But ninga you little politician will tap, Milialan ko kungol ko le mantra fenje kanje. Woli be la nafale, banko di mo la nafale. Ibrahim Anthony te la nafale min toto. Banko eta nyata wala mun tele be la nyata tati. Wondon tele unify wala mun tele kairoti. Oda nyanda fero mun kela wala nga kata mbesi we all sit under one umbrella. Mun keta ketal jibondi mo la te kono la. But mun tuta jensi wo fana rectify no le jani mbeftala je 2026 December manjamfa. But we can still work towards it. Alinga katanga ke kilimoti. Alinga Adama Barola mansa kunda bondi je. Bara kana ke all cost de. Nkana foko mun keta jang ya jamela watu la woyna ke jang kote. Adama e bonda e bondi doron. Han kana so wota. Nga Adama bondi je nga more place mu yalon. Hana tarabe single term le kela. Ay ke banko la kayroti jannabe bonda ci ay banko dingol unify nganyinne fo APRC molye nganyinne fo GDC kolye nganyinne fo GDC atodum fang PDOIS kolye nganyinne fo patie mol be banka beti ngol nganyinne fo. We need a leader who can unify this country. We need a leader mu yalan kabe banko bondino la tilimbali ya mu yalan ko mbolo ko korosono mu yalan ko mbolo ko ni banko kam bi mun diate kawle surtout nan na fudo mandingo bebu because majority of Gambian people are suffering. Mobe everybody should survive. Ibrahim morning fe mobe ka kum fo konko. Morning konko be ka kunde. Botalinga hakilo to bake. Adama ka mintili mola mantra mo soronka. Ning hakili dilin tamol ba fala ko Adama bika mo soronga bika moli. Ba Adama e muntili Gambia dingol la momon ni wo kasino o maria te kedi nyimbanko ka. Hani dunia fan kon wala konko konko be banko di molla fente mbulumbe balula minna koteke anani Adama sita jang koteke 2026 Adama be tankalla nka nyumul be kuma di yon politicians bebe jikirin ko ha ning Adama sita jang koteke ntebe chance to wolu ne be fola chance wolu ne be fola la fereng wolu ne balo na koy ma ceku woto ngata nga misadabo ay minke nyim banko e banko di mo be nyanta sonnale ko anda nga chance clean atuda banko di ngole ya fo misada wala atuda misadabo le bulu banko di ngole ya fay nyina tina mam banko di lanu wala te afo moliye ko wala moli ya foko ninga lon nu nga banko di nyina nu fulale beje is either a banko di surprise by giving them something that they never expected from him, wala a banko di surprise by not giving them what they expected from him. Sa to da banko di lebulu. This is not about Manneh, it's not about Mr. Dabu, it's not about Ibrahima, it is about our country. The same message mbole for the Taliban. Ikane famoje bankoje. This banko is important than any of us because it is the bigger picture.
Baraka bake pa Manneh nkoto nyominga dinne wonala nyominga keba mu nyominga ringol dum fana yalon so bikan calling on in yanjola benda jang anu yalon uniwol benda dawda bika easy so I really enjoyed my conversation with you, Pa. Once again, I cannot emphasize enough. Thank you so very much for agreeing to do this with me. It means a lot, you know, Imo Kende and Kacha Diada. But Kacha Koleata Fanang, so Kuma Fanang for the Jamia Lonko is out of line. Will anybody feel offended out of it? You know, woman to responsibility. And we want to say that it's not out of malice, at least from my end. And I'm pretty sure that Pafanang is the same. But thank you all very much for being here. All of you have been here for over 500 people at the time. And Al Mojama Bidang, Allah Kachadi, Allah comment. So thank you all very much. And also consider share, live news share, let more people see the interview. That way, you know, we're getting the word out there for everybody to see. Pa Baraka Bake once again, man.
Ibrahim, sorry, Jani Bitala. I would want to take this opportunity to thank certain people because Natal Internet as cannot be the I was expecting I would have called people for interview, but I never expected people would call me for interview. And then lately, media also you know, it's not because Pam Mufenet Barbutum Alale Adawunya, but Yanin Bital Drong one day member the content of Baja. But into Bake, Baja. The rest, no one in Alabula. Parce que momu ikanyina kunu na do wonde mu kendo so alota nyenda mendo fum futa de bilante alon ida alon amalon ngalon anumbe ala danila ala kana ku kemiyati na babula la biya my brother Lane la resise la mino lam ko ma mandi kuyati I've known this Manneh is my own brother but nyinga nying molmoto la resise la mino lam ko ma mandi kuyati mbeten to lambe jayila Nimman can definitely tend to see it as a person, but a long UDP body in Cononte. So, on behalf of UDP, on behalf of youths in UDP, Mbeten to Lambe Jaila. Modol be Jembela Flow told Command, but I will call Alambula, but ye fallon. So, Mbeten to Lambe Jail and Baby Nimbara. But he would have cool economic. But Ninjan Tenum did not have a Koleala Bakelde. At the Koleala Baba, I know that. I know very, very well. So Mobes is a duala. The agency UDP is because of these people. Ndelen Kawe to don't find it out, Delaka Diamu, Ndelmanke call on Kadiamu on social media. But in Yidia can tell. I know what they have done for this party. And then I know their participation financially, morally, and mentally. You know, so mbeten to lawla mbe jayla mbe duale be si jambani jara kende aba
Baraka Bage Alma dual be jabila nkoto Salim Gassama aning UDP baramal mi yalon ko nan la mol fure jandarong nyal be ka fajang ale life nim fandi mbaflal be ko ala baraka almo kende all of you are very loyal but once again thank you all very much pa kumo kachadiata kumo ni senada thank you very much Alma dual be jabila murunda le nan ko denke inshallah te mela nimpa be kachado fana ndetla inshallah thank you so much pa alama tiloto dia
all right